talking about. What made younger people start having kids at an earlier age compared to when we were younger?
being being trying to be grown, you know, doing grown things. And a lot of that, like Bernie Mac said, man, we got some punk ass parents. You know, we really do. You know, things that we did, like we didn't. The parents now they talk to the kids all in their conversation. You know, you ain't no, you a child. Be a child and enjoy that. Don't try to be a grown up so quick. There's gonna be time for that, and you're not gonna like it. You know, so we go ahead.
No, you remind me of something my older brother once said, and he said that I believe my children should fear me. In other words, like you said, you're involved in the grown person's business and things like that. And I know some people are going to be repulsed by the idea of a child fearing their parents, but the fact is, a lot of modern day children are not fearing that physical discipline that you and I probably feared as a kid ourselves.
Look here. I guess it's a fine line between fear and respect. My mother was 5 foot nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I was 6'1", 260 pounds. I was scared to death of her. You know, now is that a form of fear?
Well,
I guess so, but I knew if I wanted to, I could grease my mama pretty good if I wanted to. But I respect
that don't sound right by any stretch of the imagination, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
But I respected her and what she said and what she told me. You know, I was in my 40s when she passed, and at that time, my mama didn't even know I smoked. I wouldn't even smoke in front of her. I wouldn't even, none of that, because of the respect I had for her and the way she raised us up. They don't raise their kids up the same.
So you're saying that the children of today do not respect their parents as much?
No, man, they got parents scared of their kids.
Damn. Yeah.
You know that they got parents scared of their kids. My daughter, God bless her, and I love her dearly. She has a son. And she tell I don't know what to do with him. What do you mean you don't know what to do with him? You're the mother. I'll be over there in 10 minutes. You know?
Well, I will say this. Additionally, when we grew up, the law was not involved in how you raise a child as much. Certainly when it comes to disciplinary things. I mean, the kids we couldn't call a 1-800 number on our parents. They can do that now.
Yeah, you look here. What my mama with me would be child abuse now. You know, but I never ever thought about calling the police on her. That never even entertained my mind. Even if I could have had a number, I'd never call your police on your mama. Come on, man. I mean, they're different. It's a different breed.
How about this one? I think that says Miss My Mom or something like that says, how many black men are in their kids' lives? Is it an issue, an epidemic of absent fathers still causing a problem?
Yes, it is. And as men, we have to take responsibility for that. We're sitting up here laying down with these women and having kids, and then letting them raise the kids by themselves. That doesn't make sense.
Well, based on what you're saying, because a lot of folks are blaming the white man. It sounds like you're genuinely saying we're fucking up ourselves.
Now, wait a minute. It is a 50-50 because the white man does take opportunity away from us. But if we had the education like we should have, then they wouldn't be able to do the things that they do to us.
Well, you got a guest. Mike, good evening. Welcome to the program. Is there something you want to comment on?
Yeah, it's me, man. What's going on, man?
Oh, man. What I did wrong, Mike?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Listen, man. Respectfully. There's some validity to some of the things that you're saying, but right now in the United States of America, black men are involved in their child's life at a 54% clip that live outside the home. It's the highest demographic in the country. Look it up. We are not absentee fathers.
We are not
absent in
our children. No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you did. I'm just look. You know how we sound, bro.
I know, but check this out. The 54% that are present, fine. 46 that ain't.
No. That's again. when you look at where we are in this nation right now, black men are more present in their children's life than any other demographic.
Is that true?
Yes.
Wow. I wasn't
Yes.
aware. I was not aware of that. I'd have to look that up.
Yeah. Look it
I
up.
believe Mike. I believe him absolutely. Mike, Travel Man, Dinkel, 100% stand-up people. But on this one, Mike, the stats don't lie. But where are they taking these stats at?
This again, it's
You
literally
know, are they
the
in the
involvement.
projects, New Orleans, or Cleveland, or this and that, or are they in the suburbs? You know, because the suburbs don't have a problem. This inner city used to have a problem, and I don't think they're taking them stats there.
Yeah, well. First of all, I mean, could the stats be higher? Yeah, the stats could be higher across all demographics of men being involved in their children's lives. But the idea that it's not happening, we can always improve our communities. I think a lot of times we're extremely hard on our communities, and I get it. I understand the sense of urgency. The problem with that sense of urgency is somehow it gets reversed into like we're not passionate, or we don't care about our kids, or we're not involved, and we're in the streets and we are criminals. When you look at the numbers, there's a small percentage of black men that have been incarcerated. Right? There's a small number that have been incarcerated, but if you listen to the media, if you listen to how we're portrayed, you would think most of us have been incarcerated.
So then let me ask you, Mike, why is it in 2026 that the African American community still lags behind virtually all other communities, not just the white community? We lagging behind the Hispanics, we're lagging behind the Asians. Why is the black community lagging behind all these other demographics?
Well, first and foremost, every one of those other demographics came here voluntarily. They were giving government subsidies and government assistance to build their wealth in this country. Every last one of them. We weren't brought here. We weren't given those. And this country continues to try to take every opportunity away from us.
Yeah, but you're blaming African Americans lagging behind Hispanics and all this on slavery?
I'm telling you, listen, Tim. And this is the thing, because physical slavery ended doesn't mean that the oppressive system hasn't been in place. It didn't go anywhere.
So they're not oppressing Asians or Hispanics or no other group, just only blacks?
No, not to this extent. But Tim, I want you to remember something. When you come to this country voluntarily, and this country provides those resources for you, while we're in the system that was built to oppress us from the beginning, they didn't have that beginning, and a lot of them still have to deal with it.
Mike, there's a lot of resources.
Listen,
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying back in the 1800s and 1700s, but I mean, there is a lot of resources, from student loan assistance to welfare and food stamps. The black community receives a ton of assistance in the last few generations. I get what you're talking about back in the day, but that's not now.
Okay, so let me give you this analogy, because that is part of the problem. What you just said is part of the problem. Because if we got a 4-lap race to run, and everybody is gone for three full laps, and then they say, okay, you can go on the last lap and say, well, I'm not holding you back now. Why the fuck why haven't you caught up? That's the problem.
Mike, let's say you're right. Let's say you're right.
Not say I'm right. I'm 100% right.
Okay, for your sake, you're 100% right. Okay, you just told us the problem. Now tell us the solution.
The solution is to continue to build. We've had major progression in this country, although it's not as fast as we wanted. We've had a lot of progression. That's my problem with some of the rhetoric.
Here's the problem I have. You got the African American community is not just lagging behind all these other demographics. We're even lagging behind other black people that immigrate here. I mean, so like you got people coming from other black communities in Africa as immigrants, and they become doctors and shit. I mean, we're lagging behind them too. So I don't know if you can blame all this on what the white man did in yesteryear.
I didn't say all, but when you say yesteryear, like it's still not happening right now. When you say yesteryear, like this administration right now is not trying to change voting rights. They're not trying to Tim, when he got elected, let me give you a perfect example. When Donald Trump got elected and Elon Musk went into Doge, when you go back and watch those interviews of those Doge employees and ask them what they were tasked to do. What were they tasked to do, Tim? Have you watched their interviews?
You talking about the ones? You talking about the Doge employees that fired everybody, or the ones that got fired?
Yes. No, the ones that fired everybody.
Yeah, they were picking people out. They were picking people out based on their sexuality and race and stuff.
No. They weren't just picking people out. And see, that's the problem. Words matter. What people were they picking out?
I mean, you're going to say people of color, I guess.
No. I'm not going to say.
What are you talking about?
You're going to say black people. You're going to say when that happened, our unemployment rates jumped up to damn near 9%, while the national average stayed at 4.3%. How was that possible? Over 300,000 black women lost their jobs. They were handpicked. They were chosen to be pulled out of this administration. That's a hurdle. Don't ask me.
Yeah.
Go look it up. That's a hurdle.
Yeah, but we've been behind. Look, I'm not going to say that. Obviously, the Trump. Hold on. Obviously, the Trump administration this second go round has not been friendly to the African American community. I'm not arguing that, but we were behind long before Trump even came and ran for president.
Tim, but every time we make progress, this happens. See, people will forget that 300,000 women were extracted from the workforce just to start over again. Nobody's going to think about that. That's a hurdle. So when you ask, how are we behind? Quit pulling me fuck behind and let us progress. But here's what happens. And by the way, while the other communities, the Asians and the Hispanic communities, they just assimilate to whiteness and they keep it pushing because they're just as bigoted as well because it's easy to assimilate than to fight against it.
You got a counterpoint, Jeremy. You're a guest as well. Do you hear something you disagree with?
Absolutely, the majority of it. This is what was called having an external locus of control, where the world is always against you rather than you having dominion over the results you see. First off, I want to point out the fact that the Irish and the Italian immigrants who came over here didn't get shit when it came to social services. You're fucking lying. That's not. They didn't get shit. They really had to create the Knights of Columbus. They had to create the Knights of Columbus to have any kind of health insurance because they had to do it all by themselves.
What did they do, Jeremy?
They were created.
What did they do, Jeremy? When they came over, what did they do? Listen, let's keep it a buck.
They worked the shittiest jobs there were. They worked in the coal mines. They worked in construction. They worked where there was heavy accident fatalities, where they couldn't get any other jobs.
Okay, cool. And then what happened, Jeremy? And then what happened?
In time, they assimilated like black people.
Exactly. Isn't that what I just said?
Yeah,
and those same people that came over here that were demonized.
You were adding again. You didn't. No. I'm going to finish my sentence.
Let him finish. Wait. Hold on. I got to get you. You guys are talking amongst each other. All right, go ahead, Jeremy. Then we'll have Mike respond. Go ahead.
Yeah, you didn't just say assimilate. You also said that they weren't given the same social services that other people were. The majority of immigrants that came to this country, regardless of whether it was voluntary or not, didn't receive any kind of social services whatsoever. Especially not the Italians or the Irish.
Mike.
Well, that's not true. But let me tell you what they did do when they got over here.
The Italian, the blacks. This was a black community.
But he did exactly what I'm talking about. And this is what's happened over. So when Tim makes these comments about slavery in the 1800s, it's people like Jeremy or the Italians or the Irish that came over here. And when they were demonized when they came over here too. I've always said that. But as soon as they were allowed to, first of all, when they organized, they were criminals. They were crime riddled in their communities. But the crimes they committed also became law, and they were able to make money. And you know what they did? They assimilated to the same racism this country was founded on, and they treated black people the same fucking way they were treated once they assimilated. Every last one of them did that. The Hispanics did it, and the Asians did it as well. So they can assimilate quietly because the system wasn't built on racism against them. It was built on racism against us. That's what it was.
Well, I will say that once blacks gained freedom, we also did some of the same racism against ourselves too, because I'm sure you know light-skinned black people in the black community got treated by other black people Better than dark-skinned black people.
Well, Tim, and that was part of what. And where did that come from, Tim? That came from house nigga, field nigga. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That came from the same system. It came from the
I
same
don't. You
system.
know something? I believe you're correct, but here's something I would want to know: does that happen in Africa? If you're a light-skinned black woman, where there hasn't been a long history of slavery, do they treat them better or worse over there?
Is that a question to me?
I'm just pondering amongst myself because
Well, I'll answer that question. I'll answer that
hold on
question.
for a second, Jeremy.
Right away, if you go to Africa and it doesn't, like, even if you're darker skinned than the person and who is from Africa, if you go to or even if you're a lighter skinned than the person that you're interacting with, it doesn't really matter. Well, a lot of African Africans hate American Africans, African Americans.
that is true. That is true.
That's absolutely true. But have you been to Africa, Jeremy?
Not myself, but I know plenty of people.
Okay,
who
then
have,
be
like,
quiet. You don't know.
Wait a minute. That's
No,
not right. I ain't never been to Africa. That's not just because he hasn't been there don't mean he can't comment on it.
You can't comment on whether the the light-skinned Africans over there get treated better than the black Africans.
Well, we are.
I literally had an
haven't been there to
African
see it.
man that was my
You
friend.
cannot answer
My
that
friend
question.
was
You
a
can
light-skinned
answer that
African.
Hold on, gentlemen, hold on. Hold on a second. We talk about everything from Israel to Russia to Ukraine. We ain't been to them motherfucking places. It's just because you ain't been to them, you can't comment on it. He's commenting on what he thinks is like. Now, you can correct him if he's wrong. I get that. But we talk about places we ain't been to all the time.
Look, Tim, the topic you were asking us about, first of all, and this is the problem, is people like Jeremy like to tell black people about, and check this out, 70+% of all white people don't even engage with the black community in their lifetime, in their everyday job, and I'm not in their everyday lives. Did you know that?
Wait, say that again.
70% of white people, they don't. Tim, you got to understand, we are 13% of this population.
Say this. What did you just say? 70%. What were you saying?
70% of white Americans don't even deal with black people in their day-to-day lives. But they all have a huge opinion on who the fuck we are. Now, let me ask you this, Tim.
But that works in reverse, Mike. There's a whole lot of blacks that don't deal with whites, and they got an opinion on them too.
Hold on, Tim, but here's the difference. That's why this app is dangerous when it comes to these conversations, because people don't think past their own ideology. What I said was 70% of white people, well, we're in their system. So we're impacted by their system. They're not impacted by us. In their day-to-day lives.
Except when we get murdered.
Let me see. You see what I'm saying, Tim? That's what I'm talking about. He just proved my point. Like he proved my point real time, right? Like here's the thing. That's all they know, Tim. That's all they know. He proved my point real time. That's
well, listen. You guys are forcing me. You guys, hold on. You guys are forcing me to defend the white guy here, and even though he's not a complete white guy, but here's the point: you're chastising the Caucasian race or whatever the hell we want to say for doing things that we often do as well. What Jeremy just did is stereotyped all black people. We don't do that to whites.
No, I'm not doing that with you today, Tim. But first of all, because here's why. Your devil's advocate's point is dangerous, because what Jeremy said is a lie. Today, Tim,
I get that.
Finished. No, it's not a stereotype, it's a lie.
Yeah, wait, Mike, all stereotypes are a lie. They're all a lie.
Listen, can I finish my point? Because this is where we get lost in this shit.
4 minutes.
What he said was a lie, because the average white person has no. The only thing they know about us is what they're told or what they see on TV. They don't know what's going on in our community.
FBI statistics.
Again, you can read an FBI statistic. So what else did they say about the white community, Jeremy? Tell me.
What do you mean?
No.
What they said is he's talking about the rise in white supremacy that came from the FBI.
No, Jeremy, tell me what the rest of the stats said about crime, Jeremy. Tell me.
Okay, I don't know what you're trying to imply.
I know you don't, because the only thing you're focused on is the community. He just proved my point, Tim. The only thing he's focused on is a community that doesn't impact his life on a day-to-day basis whatsoever. He didn't address.
Or maybe it's a nothing burger. Oh, by the way, I interact with other races more than you probably do.
I'm about to tell you, 70% of sex crimes in this country are committed by white men in your communities, not ours. So why are you focused on our communities that you don't live in, but you don't look at your own community that you live in? That is the hypocrisy.
Actually, if we actually look at the per capita number, if we look at the per capita number, black
Two minutes,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
yeah, yeah.
2 minutes. I got to move it on in 2
Yeah.
minutes.
per capita matters more than raw numbers.
You see what I'm talking
Per
about?
capita
Tim?
matters more.
So
Per
our
capita matters
communities, so what's happening in our communities matters more than what's happening in your community. What about child porn in this country?
Ooh.
Who leads in that stat?
Ooh.
Jeremy? Huh?
Blacks.
No, not even close. Not even close.
No, it's black.
Not even close, Jeremy. You're wrong.
Yes,
What-
if you adjust
what
for
about-
population.
I gotta tell you, hold on. Let me just say this in regards to the question Mike just asked you, Jeremy. Have you ever seen it To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen? I've never seen dude walk in on a black guy. I mean, I've never seen him
I've
walk
seen
into
it.
the kitchen on the black guy on that show.
That's why this conversation is dangerous. Tim, I'm about to drop back down. That's why this conversation is dangerous, because they come up here and say that shit, but if they want to have a real conversation, they're only going by what they've been fed. They don't know anything
He's
about
afraid
our
of per
communities.
capita.
I don't give a fuck about per capita. I'm asking you about your
Of
community.
course you don't, because you
And
don't like
can't-
statistics when they don't favor you.
You can't tell me about your community. Why are you so lazy? And this is the problem.
I'm
Tim, we're
Latino,
13%.
so I don't know
Tim,
about the white
Tim,
community.
I'm
there's
listening.
13%. You assimilated, Jeremy. What are you talking about? You assimilated to
Yeah, you
whiteness.
want to know why? Because you should too.
Well, guess what? We can't do that, sir.
Yes, you can.
We
You
can't
just
do that.
you just
The
blame
system-
everyone else for all your
The
problems.
system,
But
the
get
system
an
was
internal
built-
locus of control
the system-
and take
listen,
control
listen.
of your life.
Jeremy, I'm more successful than you will ever be.
Sure you are. By what metric?
Not even close, sir.
All right, gentlemen. Mike, make your point. Then Jeremy, I'll go to you and El Papi, but I gotta wrap it
At
up.
the
Mike,
end of
make
the
your
day,
point.
You brought your ass up into a black conversation when you don't know what you're talking about black people. You are exactly why I came up. El Papi, this is exactly why I came up. He's talking about shit he don't know about, only to dehumanize us. He can't tell you anything positive about our communities because he doesn't know shit about us. Stop letting these people demonize us like that. Tim, El Papi, because you say one thing, they make it reality, and then they don't care that Nolan Wells doesn't come back from a boat ride with his 3 white friends over the 4th of July weekend, and now everybody's acting like they don't know what the fuck happened to them. Don't let them do that to us.
All right.
That's why this shit is happening.
I'm gonna talk on that after these two gentlemen. And I'll drop you, Mike. Okay, Jeremy, I'll give you a rebuttal, and then I'll go to El Papi.
Okay, so this is what's called having an external locus of control versus an internal one. An internal locus of control is where you believe that regardless of whether or not everything is your fault or not, you believe it is your responsibility to make the world that you live in better. It is, and there has been study after study after study after study that has regurgitated the same thing, proving that people who have an internal locus of control have a much better life than those who have an external locus of control by every single metric. And the black community has been taught to have an external one, while almost every other community
Taught by
has been
who?
taught
Taught
to
by
have an
who?
internal one.
Taught by who?
The media, and in some ways, I think the government is actually.
Right,
I
you
think
do
that-
understand all of that is controlled by white people, right?
I think that there used to be a lot more racist white people in office that I think have since been ushered out
'Cause
for the most
here's
part.
the
And a lot
issue
of
I
them-
have.
and-
Here's the
and-
issue.
No, hold on. Let me finish. And here's the thing. I do want to hear what you have to say, but I just want to finish my points. I think that the same people who and I will say these are probably white people who brought crack into the black community are the same ones who also taught them to have an external locus of control because they wanted to destroy the black community. And I think that was a terrible injustice that this nation owes the black community an apology for. Now, as for Mike's point, the reason why per capita matters is because there are way more white people in the United States than there are black people. So of course you're going to see more of them on To Catch a Predator. Of course you're going to see more of them represented in who commits every crime. And because there's just more of them. If I went to the Congo, I wouldn't expect hardly any white people to be a part of that representation. Per capita is what matters.
All right.
But go ahead, Tim.
I'll respond to it on the other side. All right, El Papi, I'll give you a quick time to wrap it up before I respond to all this and start taking other callers. El Papi, have you heard something you disagree with?
Oh, well, I'm always going to disagree with Jeremy because he's on the outside looking in. So he doesn't know anything about the black community to sit up here and make the comments on what it'll take for us to get out of what the detriment that we're in. So I'm going to ignore everything he said. But I came up here because I wanted to talk about the Trump and Biden comparison that you did make. And I believe that we are in worse shape than we were with Biden throughout the United States and worldwide. The respect is gone. They don't respect the United States no more. And I bet when you went on your cruise, you could see it by being in other countries. It isn't the same kind of welcoming, I'm glad to see the U.S. or anything. They think, and unfortunately they are correct, since Trump is the president, that everybody else is to blame because we voted him in. So across the world, we are catching it. Here, he hasn't done anything that he said he was going to do except for immigration. So are we in a better place with him? Absolutely not. We're in a better place when Biden, Sleepy Joe, or whatever you want to call him, he was doing better while he was asleep than Trump is doing while he woke.
Damn. All right, I'll leave it at that, El Papi. I will address what you just said as well on the other side. Appreciate you coming up. All right, now there was a lot said. I did record some notes. Real quick, in regards to what he said about, I went on a cruise to, Turks and Caicos a couple months ago. Did I notice the sentiment towards Americans getting off the boats different than in years past? I did not, because we still are getting off the boats and spending a ton of money, and it was in predominantly brown and black country. I went to Turks and Caicos, and I can't even think of the other island I went to. And I got another one coming up to St. Martin. I mean, these are all, if I went to Cuba or Venezuela or Colombia, it might be different. Or Mexico, it might be different. But you're going to areas where the overwhelming majority of their income is coming from the people getting off the boats. So I didn't see it. But then again, I did not question it. Like sometimes I get folks from other countries on here, and that's the first thing I do is I ask them, how do you guys feel about Trump and things like that? I didn't question it. So it's not to say that what my last caller said may not have been the case, but because I didn't question it, I did not bump into it. Now, in regards to the other two gentlemen, Mike and Jeremy, Mike was adamant, and I think even Pappy was talking about, Jeremy being, I think Jeremy's Colombian, but he can identify as white. Just like MAGA reacts as Egyptian, but he can identify as white as well. The idea that you can't speak on the black community because you're on the outside looking in, I vehemently disagree with that. And for the simple reason I gave on to the other person that was saying you couldn't speak on stuff in Africa. We talk about stuff happening in communities that we don't have any affiliation with all the time. Why are whites prohibited from talking about what's going on in the black community? There's no shortage of blacks talking about what's going on in the white community. You might be wrong, but I do believe it presents a healthy dialogue to discuss it. And Mike says these kind of conversations are dangerous because you allow people to say crazy shit on social media. I'm on the other side of that. I believe these conversations can actually be fruitful because you're putting people who normally don't have any affiliation with each other together and letting them speak, and sometimes you drive home some points. I've actually had a lot of MAGA folks DM me and say, what you said makes sense. I would never vote liberal. I still would never vote for Kamala Harris, but you made a point. And sometimes MAGA says things that I tend to agree with. in some cases. I mean, I don't defend Trump attacking people constantly, but I do believe there is a benefit to putting a bunch of folks from different backgrounds who have no normal affiliation with each other all together in the same forum, and I provide them all with respect. That's why I say I don't block, ban, or censor, and I don't talk down to my guests. I'm not a know-it-all, and I don't think I've ever talked to a know-it-all on the platform, plus or minus a few smokies here and there. But we believe in letting the people speak. So I do believe that if you only talk to people who agree with you, I don't think you're furthering anything. From day one, this has always been our comments go left of Mom Donnie, what we were saying Bernie Sanders. Our comments go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. We've made that clear from day one. You're going to hear opinions from all sides of the aisle. So people are going to speak on communities they don't have no involvement with, et cetera, et cetera. I just believe it makes for a healthier exchange when you do that. Mike also brought up this story that's making in the news, this permeating the news and floating around. These 3 white guys and 1 black guy went boating together, and they just happened to come back missing a Negro. And thank you for that hat and mustache and that love alter ego. Yeah, you guys can help your boy out with the hat and mustache TikTok cap goals. Damn right. Certainly smash that like button, get the likes up to 20,000. I haven't solicited that, so thank you for supporting the program. But they came back missing a Negro. So the speculation is going to obviously be there, and it's going to be racial. 3 white, it almost sounds like a really cruel joke, 3 black guys, 3 white guys and 1 black guy go out to sea together, and it sounds like the opening to a cruel joke. Is it racism? I understand why people are saying it because of the racial element, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't go out and something else didn't happen. I don't automatically jump to the claim that the black guy is missing because the white guys got together and conspired and killed him. There's a host of other scenarios that could be there. And in the comments yesterday says they allegedly did not report him missing. Well, we'll have to figure out why that is. Did they all come back together and maybe he did something after they all came back and they didn't know he was missing? I don't want to just jump into the category of automatically accusing these folks of, being involved with this guy's disappearance. I would want to hear a little bit more of it. And if that makes me fluffing red, then I'll take that. And if I'm wrong, I'll certainly concede the point. But, 3 people go out to sea with a black guy and they come back and the black guy's not there. There's a million questions that need to be asked. They certainly need to do a thorough investigation, but I don't believe in just convicting somebody based on suspicion. And that's what folks are saying, is that this automatically means that they are, they've done something nefarious with them. I don't know. I don't know. They could all been goofing around out in the middle of the water, and this guy went in and they didn't realize he couldn't swim, and now one of them is afraid he's going to be charged with manslaughter. So they just conspired not to tell the folks. Is that a sinister act? Depends on who you ask. I don't know, but there's a million ways this could go, is the point I'm saying, that do not involve them deliberately killing the guy, which is what folks are rushing to say. I get it. The African American community is going to immediately say I'm fluffing, simping, selling out, whatever the case may be. But I want to hear more in regards to that story. Last but not least, there was something else. I couldn't even read my own damn writing, but something else they said. But we'll move it on. Listen to the recording. I haven't heard the recording, Monique. What is on the recording? Why they erased their social media? Well, like I said, if the suspicions continue to mount, that's worthy of an investigation. But do we jump automatically to they killed the guy? We're used to you doing that, Sis Brewster. Tap the screen, get the likes on up to 20,000. We're asking, are you better off under President Trump? They lost their Negro, says Gen X. Yes, they did. And they may ultimately end up losing their freedom depending on how the investigation goes. I mean, this is 3 young men. Have they lawyered up? Because detectives are normally pretty good at getting confessions out of young guys. Have they lawyered up? So we'll see what's going on. And like I said, I understand why people are saying this. It don't look good. I understand that. It does not look good. But that does. This is what I say about the 2020 election. Biden getting more votes than Trump, or better yet than Obama. How could Biden get more votes than Obama? Yeah, it don't look good, but that don't mean Biden cheated. Just because something doesn't look good doesn't mean you can automatically make flat out statements. In the comments, the United States of America is where the richest blacks in the world live, even on welfare. Blacks have it better in the United States than anywhere in the world. Not debatable. That's true, but that probably applies to everybody here. I mean, my guess is the Irish in America have it better than they do in Ireland. The Hispanics have it better than they do anywhere in the Hispanic world. So do the white people. So do the white people. The white people in America also have it better than they do mostly anywhere on the planet. So that doesn't just apply to blacks, that applies to every damn body. It's the wealthiest country on earth. So the inhabitants are going to be doing better than everybody else. That ain't something just unique to the African American community. In the comments, every day I ask myself, what is important? So to you, I say on this very day, support your local liberal. Damn it, handsome conservative, you are correct. Certainly do that. Africans sold Africans, but he doesn't want to look at that perspective. Because it's not in America, Polish guy. Do you talk about terrorist acts that happened in Yemen on September 11th? I mean, do you talk about the British bombing German boats on December 7th, 1941 when Pearl Harbor was attacked? No, it's irrelevant to what's going on. Why the hell are you talking about something in Africa when they're talking about the American slave trade? No, of course they're not going to talk about it. It's not relevant. Let me go back to the box. Stop using talking points. This is annoying, says Shanti. How is it? What is a talking point? In the comments, OG says, that's not true, dipshit. I don't know what you're talking about. So if you gotta specify, look, I get you want to insult the host. I'm okay with that. But your point is lost because you didn't add nothing to it. Good people are no joke. They are the worst damn creatures. The party of the devil wants to destroy the world of humanity at any cost. Who is the party of the devil? Going back to the box, so go to one of my subs. Twisted, good evening. Welcome to the program. Are we better under President Trump? We've had almost 2 years of him now. What say you? You got a noisy background, Twisted. Yeah, I can't. Twisted, I'm going to ask that you fix your background because all I'm hearing is my own program. So, Twisted, I'll bring you up in a minute. Fix your background, whatever the case may be that was going on with that. But we'll continue on with Lewis. Good evening, Lewis. Welcome to the program. I've talked to people who lived in different countries. They said the USA sucks, says Teddy Owens. Well, it depends on what metric. There are metrics of the United States that are not good. We're the wealthiest country on earth, but when you talk about criminality, infant mortality rate, literacy, I mean, the happiness index in America is nowhere near number one. We are capitalists. So when America says it's number one, we're judging shit based on making money. A lot of Americans go to school and come home dead. That doesn't happen in most of the free world. We don't judge whether or not America's a great country based on that. We're focusing solely on money. So, yeah, there's a reason to say America sucks. I mean, it depends on what you're using to judge it. I personally lived in Australia, and I'll tell you, there's a whole lot of things that I thought were better about Australia than America. Let me go back to the box. We'll try it again with MAGA Reacts. I don't know why I'm having trouble bringing up callers. We have worse inequality in America than Russia. Yeah, because Russia don't have much diversity. You really think Russia? Yeah, we got more inequality in America because everybody is here. There's very few people of color in Russia. Certainly blacks and Africans, there's nobody there. So it's hard to be unequal to people that don't exist. What the fuck? I brought up MAGA and he dropped too. Am I having trouble bringing up guests? I'll be back in 20 minutes. I'm not listening to him after that slavery conversation. Well, he came and went. We'll try it with Lewis again. Tap the screen, get the likes on up to 30,000 if you guys will. Lewis, good evening.
Hey, how you doing, Tim?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
What was your question? You say, oh,
The question is simple. Are we doing better under President Trump now that he's the commander in chief?
absolutely not. I mean, everything is down. You know, unemployment, especially the black community. Everything is way up. Prices are up. How could we possibly say we're doing better? I mean, people will say we're safer because we closed the border. What were those people doing over here to make us so unsafe anyway?
Well, according to Trump, they were raping and murdering everybody.
And Tim, I live in Pennsylvania here. We have, in the area where I live at, we have a large community of apple growers and peach growers.
Mm-hmm.
Most of their immigrants that come over here come over from Cuba, El Salvador, and all those countries. They come over here during the harvest and the pruning season, and they go back home. That's every year. They don't stay here. They don't plan on staying here. They're not here committing any more crimes than Americans do. Of course, when that happens, well, a lot of people come over. You're going to have those criminals that will come over and make it. Let me tell you why blacks don't thrive as much in America.
I absolutely want to hear this. All right, I want to hear this. Go.
Because we have never assimilated.
Whoa. You're saying the African American community falls behind almost all the other demographics. Blacks are behind whites, Asians, Hispanics. Blacks are behind. Hold on, they're behind whites, Asians, Hispanics, all of them because we never assimilated. Explain that.
No, we're not behind Hispanics. Number one, we're definitely higher up on the total code than Hispanics. Absolutely, Tim. There ain't no doubt about it. If you just count our athletes, we have more money and more revenue than they do. So that's bullshit. That's bullshit, number one. Absolutely. There's classes of citizenship in America, and the closest one that came to actually assimilating to white people is Irish and Germans and those people who look like them. After that, then it is the Asians. The Asians have assimilated. They've kept their mouths closed. They take a lot of shit, and they don't make a fuss. Black people, we rise up, and that's why we have it harder. That's why we're always being picked on, because we don't assimilate. And it has nothing to do with the color of your skin. It's just that we are black and we are proud. It's just that simple.
That don't sound like the lack of assimilation. That sounds like you won't stay in your damn place.
No, look, that's a lot of it. Yeah. But what place do we have in our country?
I get it. I'm on your side because a lot of during the racial era. Hold on. During the racial era in America, that was the constant statement: is y'all won't stay in your place, stay in a Negro's place. What it sounds like you're saying is they don't stay in their place.
Well, that's what you fluffers say to get people riled up. And I'm gonna say this:
there's no fluffing.
You don't want to just be a straight up. You just don't want to straight up and be a guy, that animal with that mask that goes across their eyes.
Oh, you talking about the coon. Okay, keep going. I'm listening.
No, Tim, you can't be saying that. But anyway,
a raccoon. How about that? A raccoon.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, you can say that.
I'm so used. Listen, we're uncensored here, so I'm used to saying. I know people say unalive and all this shit. I say your ass got killed. They say raped. I say you got raped. I know TikTok. My numbers would be better if I did that. I have a hard time doing that.
Every other content provider on TikTok says if you want to talk like that, take your ass over to Tim Live, because it seems like he never gets booted. But if you say that shit in a black live, you talk to any other black content provider, they'll tell you if they use those words that you use in your live, they are kicked to the curb.
Well, I will say this. I mean, I think I run a hold on. I think I run a decent program, and if I didn't say those words, I think my attendance numbers would be much higher. I mean, because when I was doing that in the beginning days, I used to have a couple thousand people.
I agree with that. Tim, I've been with you, man, since you were still like trying to sell electric bikes. I know. I can remember when I used to come in there, I would never get up. There'd be like 50 people waiting to come up. But definitely, so I definitely get it. So that is why TikTok keeps you out of the. Yeah. That does have a lot to do with it. But that hat saves your ass too, though. Just so you know, that's why you don't get booted.
What do you mean? This hat is saving me?
Not that white hat. Not that white hat.
How is this hat saving me?
We talking about that red hat with a little bit of white right on it.
it's the red hat. Okay, I'm learning.
Absolutely. I mean, this app is definitely partial to conservatives. Let's just be for real. Nobody has to go with that.
Yeah.
They are definitely not happy with liberals, and I get it. And let me tell you another thing, Tim. With all these people talking about going to live in another country, I know you've been to Australia. Have you ever lived in any other country?
For New Zealand for a short time.
So you ain't been nowhere. Let me tell you this, bro. No matter where you go, let me tell you something. And Tim, I've been a lot of places, bro. 21 years in the military, and I love traveling even now. And I can tell you now that still to this day, no matter where you go as a black person, if you leave this country, you are still going to be discriminated against. Even if you go to a black country, you are still going to be discriminated as a black American.
Wow.
It's just that simple.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
Hold up. I'm going to tell you why. Because when people go to other countries and they say, oh, man, it was so great. You know why? Because you disappeared. You don't mean nothing. You have no opinion. Nobody asks you nothing. How many times did anybody walk up to you, Tim, and say, Tim, what do you think about our governor in Australia? What do you think about our senator in Sydney? Because they don't give a shit what you think, Tim.
I don't know.
Care what you think.
I get people asking me that all the time in America.
Your opinion as an immigrant in any other country does not even matter. Just like theirs don't matter over here. If you were an immigrant, Tim, if you were an immigrant, even if you want to say an undocumented immigrant, and you ran across that border and you came to the United States, would you walk your ass over here after you got to Candyland? Would you walk your ass over to a voting booth and cast one vote?
No, you know I've made that point many times on the show. I think it's dumb to suggest that illegal immigrants are voting. They're not. Yeah, they're focused on sending money home and making their lives better. They're not going to put all of that at risk to cast a vote while they're an illegal immigrant. Yeah, that's a Trump lie, in my opinion. That's a Trump lie.
And you know, even if they did do that and they got sent back, their families would kick them in their ass to make them come back across that border. You know what I'm saying?
When you think about the fact that Trump claims, Trump has said as many as 20 million illegals came here under Biden. If they're voting, you show us some captures. If you got 20 million illegals, even if 0.0001% of them are voting, you should have hundreds of people you've arrested that were trying to vote. And the fact that they can't show you that kind of shows that is not happening.
Tim, if you really would go into, you really were to talk to any economist, it's not just in the United States. The birth rates around the world are down tremendously. Tremendously.
That makes sense, though.
For a lot of reasons.
Technology being one, there's no benefit to having a bunch of kids like it used to be for the actual family doing it. I get in terms of longevity for mankind, but to the actual family having a bunch of kids in a society that tells you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, there's no benefit to having a bunch of kids.
We're not even talking a bunch of kids. We're talking about just people don't even want to have one kid. People are now it's down now where they say most men, including you, Tim, sperm counts are down so bad we can't even make babies that well anymore.
What's this, something in the food?
It's definitely something in the food. It's all of the chemicals and stuff that they put in those vegetables and in the great gardens and all that have everybody's sperm count down. It ain't the women, it's the men.
Well, shit, since I'm using rubber bullets, then I'm gonna bust a little bit more. Then I didn't know that.
Well, I'm not saying out of your 10,000 swimmers, one couldn't sneak through there.
But I mean, that does sound like the beginnings of a good time, though. I get what you're saying, though.
But you, I know, yeah, especially for a guy like me. And Tim, how old are you, Tim?
I'm in my mid-50s.
So you're not in your mid-50s.
Well, early 50s. Almost. Early 50s. How about that? Early 50s.
I thought you were younger than my son. My oldest son is 50. So I'm just saying to you.
54.
54, okay. Well, at that age right there, everything's slowing down anyway, regardless of what you eat.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
So my thing is, but it doesn't mean that you can't make a baby, because most men who actually eat healthy and do the right stuff can make a baby. Man, there's 80-year-olds having babies. You know what
Robert De Niro and Al Pacino just bust one.
One of my good friends, he's 72 years old and on his third wife, and she's 28, and she just had a baby 2 years ago.
I mean, I don't care how good it is. Why are you dropping shorties in your 70s? Like, for real?
I look at it like this though. He can't even play baseball with that boy. That means I feel sorry for that kid. Now I get it when rich people can do it because I can have Dave Jeter come to my house and give him some private lessons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but your
I
ass is
understand
too
why
old
they
enough
do
to
that.
go to a night game. You ain't even playing ball with him. You tired. You falling asleep in the stands like you President Trump. Like you can't even go.
Yeah,
you
you're
can't
not
even
gonna-
go to the game. You so old.
All you're gonna be is a bad memory for that kid when you pass away. That's all.
No, you gonna leave him some change behind though.
Yeah, you're gonna leave. That's if you are rich. But if you just
Yeah.
a regular me or you
If you ain't got no money, you ain't having babies in your 70s. Only people with a little bit of change is having babies in their 70s. Ain't nobody trying to fuck a broke senior citizen.
He is a pretty famous
Yeah.
musician in
Ain't
Minnesota.
no, ain't no
He is
young
very
fertile,
famous.
ain't no young fertile girl trying to fuck a broke senior citizen. She can do better than that, even if she's a hoe.
Hey man, there's a lot of clockers out there on them streets that's slinging that money around like that. The government don't know they rich, but they pretty wealthy. You know?
Yeah, that's what I said. They not broke. If a dude is completely broke and he's 70 plus, ain't nobody banging that.
No, ain't nobody trying to get that. He gonna
Yeah,
have to
that's
go out
over
and take
with.
it. He ain't getting nothing. Period. I don't care if
No.
he's 22 if he ain't got it going on.
Now you can get a lot at
He's not
22
playing
while
that.
you broke. You can come out of prison broke and at 22 and still score.
But women not these days, Tim. These women are being a
Shit.
little bit more selective. These women are being a lot more selective now. They're looking for guys like you who got a little paper, who have a little future, because they ain't trying to have no babies either. You know what I'm saying?
Do
They're
you
not
like
trying to have
vanilla
no
ice cream?
babies. Yeah.
All right, then go have a scoop. You can do something at 22 is the point I'm making.
Yeah, I get you, but my thing is that I think most 22-year-olds that are really got it going on still don't want to be having no bunch of babies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's just my opinion.
I
They don't
agree with that.
want to be doing that.
So before I move it on from you, I want to ask you this question.
Just let these people know. No,
Go ahead.
go for it.
No, I was going to, the photo I brought up yesterday. We must have a delay or something going on. The photo I brought up earlier of this young lady sitting on a train amongst all these folks. Folks are pointing out, look, this was the safest place she could have been. She was unharmed. These folks didn't cause any violence. They didn't burn down any cities or any of that. Should they get credit for protesting peacefully?
Tim, she was surrounded by the modern day Klan.
The Klan hangs people.
Those guys are Klansmen. They would too. Trust me, they would too if it wouldn't hold that. The Klan did that because nothing would happen to them. If nothing would happen to them, they would do the same things. And you can bet in the dark, they probably would. I'm telling you something, that was a form of intimidation, and you can't say she won't be traumatized by that after she leaves that situation. Because I guarantee you, I probably would have called a charge that day if I was there.
Are you fucking kidding me? As a woman, you gonna stand up against a whole subway car full of men? You ain't gonna get your charge. You gonna get your killing.
I said, trust me, they wouldn't have never even got on that train if they looked in there and seen 10 black guys standing in there.
10? I mean, how many? Maybe, I don't know. It's a lot of them too, though.
It don't matter how many. They say it was 27 of them. So my thing is like it's here. 10 of them don't have 27 of them don't have a chance against 10 New Yorkers or 10 DC boys. I'm telling you now.
But you're assuming they're unarmed.
They were unarmed. That's the only reason that they allowed them to do it. They were unarmed.
Oh, okay.
But that's still intimidating. That was a
Very
intimidation on a
intimidating.
day.
Yes, very intimidating.
Now let me tell you something. What do you think? How fast that if they did that, when Barack Obama or Joe Biden would have been in office, how soon do you think the Capitol Police would have been down there jacking their ass off that train?
I don't know if you can. They're not doing anything wrong, anything criminal.
You can, and you just suffer the consequences of doing it. But it can't happen.
I don't know if I'm Obama or Biden and I see a scene like this, I might send 5 or 10 police to have them sit on the train. But if you kick them off, if you kick them off, you're dealing with a lawsuit. That's their civil rights.
I think you can. I might have went too far saying that. I would have sent them on there to protect her.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Even if they had to just sit around her or be around her, but they would not be gawking over her like they're doing on that photo.
They
Well,
never
you're not going to have time to sit them, though. I mean, this happened quick. I mean, they obviously are either on their way or on their way back from
Well,
protesting.
this whole thing was staged. Who do you think is the guy taking the picture? One of their guys,
No,
probably.
it's Reuters. It's a Reuters reporter, I think.
Yeah, but but I think it was staged, though. I still think it was staged. I think somebody sent it to Reuters. I don't think Reuters was in there taking pictures of it. It was sent to Reuters. Somebody texted the picture to Reuters, and Reuters posted the picture. I'm telling you now that it definitely was a staged event, and they definitely did that to intimidate.
I just think they got on the train to go down there and protest, and got on the train to go back. And this car they happened to get on.
Did you hear what they were saying?
No, what?
Whilst they were on the train with her, they were saying, "Take America back. Take America back.
Okay.
Take our America back." Come on, brother.
That's what they said when they protested. That's their chant.
And you're cool with that.
That's what MAGA says. We're gonna take America. I mean, that's. In fact, that goes back before. Hold on, that goes back before. No, that is a campaign slogan. That is a. In fact, that goes before. Hold on, that goes before. Hold on. Let me finish.
These guys.
Let me finish the statement.
These
though.
guys are not campaign
Let me,
guys. These
but,
are not
but that
campaign
is
guys. These guys are
taking
not even
America
like Trump.
back is something that has been said by groups throughout American history.
But Tim, these guys may not have no affiliation with. This is a white supremacist group. They may have nothing whatsoever to do with Donald Trump.
They're
Or
voters.
some campaign slogan.
There are
They
voters.
have their own. They have their own.
Do you hear what I'm saying? Voters saying we got to take our country back goes back as far as voting itself. They are voters. They're just wearing masks.
I agree with that, but these guys are probably guys that don't even vote, Tim. They definitely ain't walking into no voters.
I
with no
don't
mask
believe
on.
that.
So
I don't. I bet you. I bet you these
guys
dudes.
are-
No, I don't believe it. I bet you these dudes are.
These
Hold on.
guys
I bet you
are
these
hiding
dudes
their
are
faces.
principals. These dudes are principals. They're police officers. They're firefighters. These
Absolutely.
dudes vote. These
Absolutely.
dudes do vote.
I'm saying this is to the sense, Tim, that they are the same guys, just like they were the same guys when they used to wear the hoods on their heads. That's what these guys are. And it's that simple. We cannot accept this. I mean, I don't think anybody who's saying they have the right to do it, this is accept bullshit. That is not the case.
It's-
Just like I don't even feel like right now, I personally myself don't feel like there's no place in America for the Black Panthers. I don't think there's no place in our society for that stuff.
I gotta move it on, but I gotta move it on. But when you say, hold on, when you say this is unacceptable, this is 100% legal. This is their civil right. What do you mean it's not acceptable? They're not breaking any laws.
Let me tell you something. But Tim, do you think that they should have had for our 250th anniversary that they should have been walking around down in the fair carrying a Confederate flag?
No, it's the decorum of it looks terrible, but it's 100% legal.
I'm not saying it's not legal. Do you
Okay.
think it just because somebody, at one time, Tim, it was legal to string you up too. You know that, right?
Well, that's a different time. Obviously, we're not talking about that. No,
It was
and by the way,
legal.
that wasn't. I don't even know. Well, yeah, it was legal if you go back far
Tim,
enough.
what you need to come to realization with, like a lot of your MAGA, what you say, beloved MAGA, is that when Black people ask for reparations, we're not asking white people for shit. I got more than most white people got. I'm asking my government to do better for us and by us to make things right. Not white people. That's why when white people hear reparations, they think we're talking about taking something from them. No, we're talking about our government. You know that $40 billion they send to all these other countries and that $4 billion they send to this? That's what we're asking for. Why don't you give some of that to us? That money they gave to the Chinese, that money they gave to the Indians, that money they gave to every other person outside of Black people who they treated the worst.
Well, there's a historical context to that. I got to move it on, Lewis. I'll explain it on the other side. Thanks for coming through. And look, in regards to reparations not coming from whites, it's coming from the government. I mean, where does most of the money that go to the government come from, though? I mean, if you give, I mean, what are we, 13, 15% of the population? Let's say 10% of African Americans get reparations. That money's going to come from somewhere. It's going to come mostly from taxpayer money that has been contributed by white America. Look, at the end of the day, I think it's more of a something to do about nothing, Because to me, the way Trump is spending money on himself, yeah, you could easily do this. You could have easily done it, at least to a small degree. I mean, we're against reparations and all of this other shit, but we're okay with Trump just buying himself whatever the hell he wants. I did a video today because Trump is now claiming that he's going to be building a helipad for Marine One. Now, he claims that Marine One has been landing on, you see the helicopter land on the White House lawn, and he claims that it's been landing on grass forever and they need to have some sort of pad there. And he's saying that it's not going to be made of cement, it's going to be made of granite, it's going to have this nice presidential symbol on it. He says it's going to cost, I forget how many millions of dollars. And he's claiming that Sikorsky, the maker of these helicopters, are going to pay for it. Who the fuck believes that at this point? How many things have Trump said is not going to cost the taxpayers that stuff? A few $100 million to make this jet flight worthy for a president so that he can fly in it for only the remaining 2 years of his presidency, and then it's going in the Smithsonian. So we literally just are blowing $200+ million, $200 to $300 million, so he can fly in this plane for 2 years, and then it goes and sits up and collects dust in the Smithsonian. Like I said, I'm not necessarily discussing reparations, but if you want to talk about a waste of money and we're totally ignoring all of this shit, yeah, then, I mean, why not help out some folks where the money might do some actual good? There was zero need for him to get that jet from Qatar. Zero. That's just, I want to live a little bit more luxurious and I'm going to make the taxpayers pay for it. And that applies to all that other shit too. The reflective pool, this alleged tribunal arch that he's been just blowing money. Just literally blowing it. So yeah, why not give some of that shit to the American people? I mean, you can call it whatever the fuck you want to call it, but why not just hand out some money to some of the other people and not just keep spending it all on yourself? It just looks really let them eat cake-like, in my opinion. Tap the screen, get us on up to 35,000. We'll take the next caller. In the comments, Creed said he made the White House look good. The White House represents a tiny speck out of all the American geography. What about making the American people look good? Motherfuckers walking around, they can barely get food. Motherfuckers walking around with no health care and shit. And you talking about, I want to make my house look good at the cost of gazillions of dollars. Why don't you just come out and say, I only give a fuck about myself? It'd be easier to just do that. It would be easier if he just said, I only give a shit about me. You're profiting immensely while being president. Why don't you, instead of money coming from the taxpayers, why don't you pay for some of that shit yourself? It's all going to you anyway. The jet that came from Qatar, he could have paid money to refurbish that jet himself. It's going in his Smithsonian, and then his inheritance, charge a tax or for you to tour that jet when it's in the Smithsonian, charge a toll or whatever it costs for people to go tour it, and then that can go to your family to pay back the money you paid to make that jet legit. Why would you make the taxpayers pay for that? I mean, why not just come out and say you don't give a fuck about the American people? I'm making all my own digs look good. Most of us are never going to tour the White House. So the argument that he's making the White House look good is irrelevant to 99.999% of Americans. They're not going to go there anytime soon. It's not necessary. Same thing with the ballroom and all this other shit. You're just blowing money to make your own personal surroundings look good. And most of the American people are never going to deal with any of that. They're not going to be invited to the White House. They have no chance of ever going in the ballroom or any of this stuff. In the comments, stop making excuses and learn to be self-made. Always trying to play victim or race card. It's 2026. Ain't nothing can stop you from shining, says John. I don't disagree with all of that. I do believe as an African American, there's nothing stopping you from achieving the American dream. The American dream being a white picket fence, a decent place to live, and a nice car. I don't believe your skin color is really prohibiting you from getting that. Now, I do believe if you want to climb up the ladder, you do start encountering hurdles. You want to be a general, you want to be the president, you want to be the governor. then your race starts to matter. But if you just want a nice job, a white picket fence, a house, yeah, I think that as an African American, you can get that. Maybe harder to achieve in some cities, but so I'm from Chicago. There's plenty of brothers that I know in Chicago living the American dream, has a nice home, or maybe a few of them. I had 5 properties when I lived in the hood. I had 5 different places. And I wasn't even 35 yet. So it can be done. It absolutely can be done. Tim, you heard about those 2 black guys who beat up the gunman. No, I haven't. What 2 black guys beat up a gunman? I have not heard that, Poble. In the comments, why not create a weaponization fund from own money? What do you mean by a weaponization fund, though? Are you talking about what Trump sending the DOJ after everybody? That should just be illegal. You shouldn't be to fund that at all. What Trump did with Pam Bondi and all of that, that absolutely should just be illegal that he did all of that shit. You spent all those years under Biden crying out about witch hunts and the weaponized DOJ. And the minute Trump got in there and started doing the same shit there, well, we okay with him doing it now. Then you okay with it happening. MAGA reacts. Good evening.
Tim, what's going on?
Shit, we're talking about this. Well, first of all, let me just ask you. You might be the person to ask on a different level. Do you believe America is better off under Trump?
Better off than Harris, better off than Biden, yeah.
Well, Harris is not, Harris, there's nothing to compare Harris to other than you perceiving what she would have done. Just like Mike Pence. We don't know what kind of leader Mike Pence would have been. That's just guessing. But comparing him to Joe Biden, give me your reasoning for why America's better off now than it was under Joe Biden.
One word, inflation, Tim. Inflation. Inflation measures how much things are getting more expensive, and they got record high under Biden. And security. We've had record low murders, record low crime this past year or 2.
Yeah, but I'm under
maybe closing the border has made the country more secure and more safe. Setting records everywhere, even in New York and even Chicago.
But
the 4th of July, even though it was still a lot of people shot, it was the least shootings and murders.
Wait a minute, though. I'm under the impression that crime was coming down even under Biden. So if you compare crime rates under Biden's term to Trump's first term, I believe Biden will show you that crime was coming down under his term compared to Trump. Crime has just been on the decline.
That's them playing with the math. It was going down because it hit a record high. When something gets that high, you got nowhere to go but
bullshit.
Down.
As long as
we're talking about record
that's
low.
Not true.
It's not that it's just low. It's record low.
That's
never been this low before.
What are you talking about when it hits a record high? You got nowhere to go. As long as there are people remaining to kill and rob, you can still have more crime. What are you talking about? It could have got worse. We didn't reach the pinnacle of crime in America. Everybody ain't dead. Everybody ain't robbed. There was plenty of room to create more crime.
Say the United States gets nuked and 1 million people die tomorrow. You can have record, every year after that, you can have lower death rate. You could brag that, less people died this year.
What the hell are you talking about?
We had a fucking really bad year 4 years ago where everything was record high. We went from record high under Biden to record low. So not only is it low, it's the lowest it's ever been.
Well, like I said, if you take the metrics you're stating and you compare the term of Biden to Trump's first term, you're going to find that Biden was improving a lot of those metrics as well. I mean, remember, under Trump, we got to throw in the pandemic. What was the inflation rate what was the highest inflation rate under Trump's presidency? It's going to be pretty high in his first term.
No. During the pandemic, inflation was still 2%. The inflation didn't come with the pandemic. The inflation came 2 years later after all that government spending, the unlimited government spending kicked in. All those acts, even what Trump did, all that money Trump spent, and then on top of it, Biden came in and basically spent just as much after Trump already spent the money. That's how we got that inflation. We got it in 2021 after like a year and a half of COVID spending. It wasn't COVID that caused it. It was the spending that came from COVID.
Hang on a second, Case. I think that Biden's, I think you're getting Biden's metrics really wrong. I think in terms of crime under Biden, I think in terms of the inflation, if you looked at the economy and the crime stats under the Biden term taking over from Trump in 2016 to 2020, I bet you will see that things were improving under Biden, and you're not giving him credit for that. You got company. Go ahead.
No. This is what happened. 2021.
This is
Let me
the
finish.
shit. No.
Let him finish. Wait. Let him finish his point. Let him finish his point. Let him finish his point. Then you come in
Look, in
against it.
crime under Trump was decent. It wasn't high, it wasn't low, it was average.
Nope.
And then 2021 is the record high year, where in Chicago we had like 800 and something unaliving. And that's the record high that after that, there was nowhere to go but down. So they
That's
had a
not
really
true.
high 2021.
You're going to tell me
I'll show you
800.
the numbers right now.
No,
Look,
you're wrong. You're going to tell me, you're telling me 800 murders in Chicago and there was nowhere else to go. You know how many motherfuckers there was still left to kill? It could have went way higher than that. What are you talking about?
But the crime got better from a record high that happened under Biden. It didn't go lower from what
You're
Trump
making
did.
up stuff.
Trump was
You're
decent.
stupid
It
as
went up.
hell.
I'll show you the numbers. I don't need to.
You said that way.
I'll show you.
It couldn't get any higher. It couldn't get any higher, huh? 800 people in the city of 8 million people. It can't get no higher.
He's stupid as hell.
The reason it went down is because it went really high.
Chicago has like 8 million people in the metropolitan area. You could have killed a lot more people.
Let's talk
Okay,
about
so then maybe
inflation.
there's more to go up, but still.
Let's talk about inflation. Right now, we have over 4.0 inflation in the United States as we speak right now. When Biden left, it was between 2.4 and 2.7. Biden had it lowered. Right. Yes, and that is statistically, and that is no. Gas is more expensive right now. Our beef is more expensive right now, and our food is more expensive right now. Shut your ass up, but we're better off. And the border, let's understand this for the dummies in back, has never been closed. It's against the Constitution. You fucking nut.
What do you want me to cover first? Inflation or the crime and murder?
And I see Denkel in the comments says inflation is higher than when Biden left office. So he said inflation is higher now than when Biden left office.
No
Okay.
shit.
Do I need to turn the camera on? Let me turn the camera
Before
on.
you-
Let me tell you something else. Let me tell you something else. The immigrants don't do the crime more than a white man do. Let's go there. They're only not even 1% of the damn crime in the United States. You know who does the most, Pookies? And the little Ray Rays? The white man do, Pookie.
Alexa,
You guys are the white
is the
people.
inflation rate now higher than it was when Biden left office?
Yes.
Yeah, if you only look at that 1 month,
Inflation
yeah,
is
that's
not
about 1 month.
It's 4.2%.
Alexa, stop. What do you mean if you only look at the 1 month? The point is you're saying that things are going down under Trump. Now you're saying, well, you got to look at only certain months?
Can I show you how it looks? You gotta look at the whole picture.
Oh, the whole picture
All
now.
right.
The whole picture
You gotta
now.
look at the whole picture. All right.
What are you showing me?
Okay. This right here is Trump's first term.
Okay.
This is when COVID hits, right?
Okay.
And then this is a year into Biden. This is where all that spending from Trump and Biden, but especially Biden, since he's
Where
president.
is the first month?
That's
Where's the
when
first
spending-
month? Hold on. Where's the first month on there where Biden took office? In January of 20. So in other words, it
He took
was
office right
21.
here, January 21.
so it went down under Biden for about a year then.
No, sorry. No, sorry. Wrong month.
It went
It's right
up
here.
to 9.0.
It was right
because
here.
of the
He
World
got it.
Global.
January 2021, he got it at 1.4. Within a couple of months, it went up to 9.8. And then you got all this
It
high
was
inflation,
global.
and it kept being high. Yeah, because the entire world was spending money like it was free.
I think you just
kept
make it
being
up. I think you
high.
just
You're too stupid to comprehend nothing.
Yeah, I think
you're
you're
too stupid.
I think
Now
And
look at it.
look
Scroll
at
down
the little
again.
bump. This is the bump.
Bump!
2 months
Bump!
ago, it's high under Trump.
So when it goes up on when it
This
goes
is
up
the Iran
under
war right here. You see these two lines?
so in other words,
That's all
right
the
now,
Iran war.
according
You
to
got all this
Acco-
under
According to your map, inflation is on an upswing right now under Trump.
It really
It's
is.
only 2 months, man. It's only two.
No.
Look at this little bump. You see, it's not even.
It's only 2
barely
months.
at
Next
4.
it'll be only
Do you
3
know how
months.
much-
Next it'll be
do you
only
know
a
what
year.
it is? Tim.
Yeah.
Tim.
Let's see.
You know what happened?
If it goes this
Last
big, then
month-
I'm
If it
wrong.
if
Look
it
at
changes, you'll have a different excuse.
Last month
No,
we
if it gets-
only had
if he- This is Biden. This is
56,000.
how bad Biden was. If it gets this big, then
That was
you're right. Then Trump is
COVID-19.
worse.
You know, wait,
That
but
was
but MAGA reacts. What about what
Even
Gangsta?
after COVID.
What about
Hey,
what about what
fine.
Gangsta? Hold on. What about what Gangsta Grandma is saying is that COVID is one of the biggest epidemics we've ever had, where they shut down everything. How long do you give that to fuck with the economy?
I don't know. It's also what he did.
Biden had
You
it
didn't
up
answer
to
but you're skipping over that
2.4.
question though. I'll shrink it.
Because he won't. Now let me tell you, motherfucker, something else. With your
Either
little-
way, it
your
just
little-
hasn't
your
been
little-
that bad
your
under
little
Trump.
burnt
Where I could
mayonnaise
say,
that's in
oh,
office right
Biden was
now.
better.
Your burnt mayonnaise, though, you know how many jobs he created last month? 56,000. What a shithole of a fucking country we have. That white man don't give two fucks about your dumb ratchet ass. 56,000
Like, I can do more
jobs.
homework
You
about
know how
job
much
creation
Biden
to
did,
see why you're
though?
wrong.
Biden was doing it bigger and better. So are we better off under Biden? Yeah, hell yeah, we was. I miss Biden's economy.
That's because
We
he
had
was
our
fucking
money.
paying for all that
We had our
shit.
money. The groceries was going fucking down. Inflation was going fucking
But
down.
the money is
Gas
what
was
caused the
going fucking
inflation.
down.
That's the
We
part
had
you don't
money in our
understand.
fucking
All that
pockets.
free
Now we
money
don't.
and nothing to spend it on is what causes inflation.
And guess what? Housing is so damn expensive, people can't buy housing. People can't buy homes. And you know what Joe dumbass President Trump said? He said no.
I was
to the
thinking of the
fucking bill.
state-by-state
He said
thing.
no
I
to
was thinking
bill
Florida would
to
have been
help
fine
us.
if all these freaking Californians
He said no
and
to
New
bill
Yorkers
to
didn't
help
move
us.
here.
Okay,
You know that, right?
MAGA reacts. How do you respond to so many of Trump's campaign promises not coming true? I mean, does that have an effect on your judgment of him at all?
No, because like I always say, he's working on it.
That
and I
ain't-
think he's
he
doing
didn't
a good
promise to
job,
work
and
on
I
it.
agree with everything he's doing.
He didn't promise to
Yes,
work
he
on
did.
it
He promised
though.
to work on it. He's a president for 4 years, and he's still got 2 more years
That
to
ain't- but-
deliver on a lot of his
okay.
promises.
Let me ask it to you again. Does
I mean,
it
it's better
affect
than
you?
other presidents who didn't work on
Hold
it
on,
at
that
all.
ain't-
A lot
but-
of other
but that's not what
presidents
I'm-
would tell us shit and not work on it whatsoever.
That's not what I'm saying. When I ask you, does his campaign failures affect you? I mean, the stuff that he told you, this will be accomplished by this time period. Not 2 months later, consider me still working on it. He actually told you when he would accomplish stuff. He gave you a time on it. And here we
I mean,
are.
that's why I give him a C. I'm disappointed in the fact that he didn't deliver quicker and
He hasn't
better.
did
I'm not
nothing
giving him an A
for
plus.
us.
I give him a C minus because he's failed to deliver. Like
What
I think he
has he done
could have
for
done
us?
much better.
Name us one bill he's passed for us. Name us one promise he's done. The damn borders are
Congress
not
passes
closed.
bills. The
borders are
president
not
doesn't
closed.
pass bills.
He hasn't done nothing. Nothing for us.
He
You know
runs
what
the country.
made
He's
sure
making
though?
trade
You know what
deals.
he has
He's
made
making
sure
fucking
though?
peace
He has
treaties.
got $2 billion.
Wait, hold on. You said he's making trade deals and peace treaties. Give me some example. What peace treaty has he made?
None.
Well, he did this ceasefire in Gaza, first of all, and he did a bunch of
No,
other ones. that-
no, there's no ceasefire. There's no
He
ceasefire.
don't-
We have a ceasefire in Iran. Even
No,
though
we
he started
don't.
it, he still
No, we
ended it. It
don't.
wasn't.
How many
And you
times
know
has
that
Trump?
kept
How
going.
many times has Trump said we have a ceasefire in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz is open? How many times have he told you that already?
Well, it's open now. Oil prices
No, it's
going
not.
down, and gas will be back down soon
No,
enough.
it's not open.
And overall, like, even with this war, our gas prices is the same as it was under Biden, and in a lot of ways, it's still better. You guys have, like, amnesia how bad Biden's time was. Say it was COVID.
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
I
3
showed you
minutes.
the fucking chart. I showed you how high inflation was under Biden, and you're like, oh, no, even though it was COVID.
The gas is not down. It's higher now than it ever has been.
It's because you live in California. It's never going to go down in California because you guys keep closing down.
There isn't no such thing. There isn't one. The damn channel is still blocked off. So what the fuck are you talking about? You're stuck in
There's
this goddamn
ships going through it every day.
Well,
Oil
MAGA
prices going down.
reacts in
Why is oil prices going down then?
MAGA reacts in the comments. LG is talking about we just bombed Iran this afternoon. How do you respond to that?
It's probably another love tap. They'll be back at it. I mean, they bombed one of our ships, and we bombed them back.
You're not stupid, you fucking sow. We have an oxymoron in the fucking office, and then we got you trying to defend an oxymoron.
Do I need to show you oil prices? They're going down.
That's why he says he likes the uneducated. Because you motherfucker, you go hard.
All right, I gotta put on the camera again.
Who fucks about you?
I mean, you just said a love to Maggie reacts.
Back to Europe.
You're actually
They do this every other day. So what do you want me to say? It happened 3 times already, and we're back at the ceasefire every time. Here.
Well, no. What that means is there is no ceasefire. I mean, either you're blowing shit up or you're not. I mean, Trump is lying about this. You don't hear Iran boasting about ceasefires.
No, there's always middle ground.
No, it's not.
Black and white with you guys.
No.
Yes, there's always everything we talk about. There's a middle ground, and you make it sound like it's only black and white. Here, this is oil before the war.
You don't know what the fuck you're
Where's the price
talking about.
going? It looks like it's going down, right? This is oil before the war. It was what, 62, 65. It went up to like 100, 120 maybe. No, 110 I think is the highest.
I can't.
And here it's going back.
Let me just say,
right
in regards to your graph, I can't speak on a lot of that because I do believe a lot of those numbers are due to Trump's market manipulation. When he says there's ceasefires and the strait is open, it affects that shit, even if he's lying. So a lot of that's market manipulation.
As long as oil prices are down.
Yeah.
As long as oil prices are down, who cares?
Okay, 1 minute.
Manipulation to keeping your prices lower.
1 minute.
Okay,
No,
Working hard at keeping your price lower by manipulating the market. Why is he even manipulating the market then?
At the end of the day, our oil reserves, our gas is depleting. That means that pretty damn soon, we're not going to have none. You realize that, right? Our shit
No, you
is
thank
going
Biden for that.
Our
'cause
shit
he
is
fucking
going to be
nothing
real
else.
bad. It's going to be real bad. That's why Chevron came out and said that our shit is going to be real bad. And guess what?
Right.
It's going to get real bad. And
Hey, can you give me tomorrow's lotto number too while you're at it? Can you give me tomorrow's lotto number?
Yeah, I'll give him a C minus. Get the fuck out
Come
of
on.
here.
All right, I'll leave it at that, folks. I do got to move on. I got to move it on. All right, gangster. We'll move it on. All right, Marguerite, I will just say some of your answers are crazy. Like, for instance, Trump calling for a ceasefire, and then my guest pointed out in the comments that we just bombed him to death. You're talking about a love tap. What the fuck is that?
Because they've done it 3 times already.
No, they ain't done. No, they haven't. No, what happens is it hasn't been done 3 times. What has happened is we've been at war with Iran the whole time, and Trump is claiming ceasefires exist that do not, leading you to keep resetting your counter. There hasn't been a ceasefire. They ain't done shit 3 times. We've been at war with them the whole time. You're buying into this shit Trump is telling you. That's why you're saying 3 times and 4 times.
In the end, all I care about are ships going through, and they're going through
They're
right now.
not even going through reliably.
Down.
Yeah.
They're going through reliably. What happens is there's 2 routes, and Iran gets pissed every time someone takes the other route, so they shoot at that ship. But every time they shoot at that ship, Trump shoots back at them, be like, we're not going to let you shoot at any ship and get away with it.
Do you realize what the shit you're talking?
Game.
You do realize when a ship goes at sea, I don't care if they're carrying oil or they're carrying products and imports, exports. There's an insurance charge you charge just in case something happens at sea and the ship is lost. Do you realize this back on again, off again shit, what that's costing these ships, to cargo ships and insurance, and how that's going to be trickled down to us? This stuff is not over like you're trying to make it sound. You're even admitting, well, this ship went through and they just shot at that one and Trump responded back. Can you imagine how the insurance companies are looking at this unstable, inconsistent shit? Where you don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow versus today. They're charging them a fortune to do that.
Well, I'm saying the oil price is low. If they're charging them a fortune, it would be in the oil prices. But the oil prices are going down.
Oil prices
so
are low. That's because of what Gangsta Grandma said. We're currently tapping into reserves of our own that are running out to do that. Eventually, what's going on in Iran is going to come full swing to us. We can't keep doing this. Where we're lying about ceasefires that don't exist. Trump is saying this stuff is manipulating the oil market. All of that stuff. It's not based on reality. It's based on Trump telling you shit just like you just said. Well, they've done it 3 times. No, they haven't. That's just Trump telling you lies 3 times.
But this shit's tracked. I'm sure if you look it up, I've been told This is one time I'll say it. This is what I heard because I haven't looked it up for sure. But as far as I know, they're shipping as much oil as they can through that strait right now. The only thing, yeah, go ahead.
If you look it up, you're going to find one thing consistent. Trump has been dishonest about what's going on over there the whole time. That's what you're going to find out if you really do your homework on this stuff.
Even Iran is letting. I mean, Iran's not. They're not saying. You could. Even Iran says ships are going through. They just want them to go through their side of the fucking lake.
Iran is letting certain countries go through. They made it clear they intend on charging a toll. What Iran is saying is totally different than what Trump is saying.
Well, they haven't charged a toll yet. Supposedly they have 60 days to do that. Right now, all the ships. The only time they shoot at a ship is if it goes through the other side. If it goes through their side, all ships are going through, no restrictions whatsoever. I mean, this shit's tracked. You don't have to take my word for it.
Oh my God.
2 minutes fucking Googling it. I mean, all this shit I talk to you about, I can't fucking search for it while I'm talking to you.
Do you think Trump is doing a good job with this war in Iran?
I think he's doing better than anybody else would have. Because anybody else, it would either be non-war or completely in war. Like, you wouldn't be... He wouldn't get out... Anybody else would be stuck. He will not... refuses to be stuck. He's going to find a way out no matter what. I think in the end, he's going to win.
Under Biden, the whole Strait of Hormuz would be open right now. This would not be going on.
Yeah, but we had the same bullshit from Ukraine. And he was... Under him, oil production was shit. And we had the same problem with Ukraine. We had the same price increase with Ukraine. And, you know, imagine once the Ukraine thing ends and the Iran thing ends. Then we're going to be really good on fucking gas.
Yeah. My problem...
Trump's working every day on that shit. He's never stopped working from day one till today. He's always working on
my problem with this whole scenario is you and I are debating this stuff like a couple regular gentlemen, and your side of the argument is solely based on what Trump is telling you, and that's where I have a problem because there's just so much. Yeah, it is. You're talking about how the oil prices and everything is better under Trump. All of that's based on what he's saying. You're talking about we're at a ceasefire. All of that's based on what he's saying. You're talking about the Strait of Hormuz is open. All of that stuff is predominantly based on what Trump is saying.
Going down. I showed you the actual oil prices going down. I'm sure if I had like 10 minutes to look, I'll find you the number of ships going through the strait, and then I'm pretty sure there's more ships going now.
Yeah, but the problem, MAGA, I got to move it on. But the problem with this, when you bring it, hold on.
To talk about
no, that ain't what I'm saying. Well, unfortunately, I got to move it on for time. But the problem is, you're giving me answers to stuff without Iran signing into any deal or anything. So no matter how you try to paint this stuff to look good, it all could change tomorrow because there is no official deal between America and Iran. So nothing that's happening right now can be expected to continue. They've even made it clear they intend on charging a toll to go through the strait. So when you start talking about how low gas prices are, well, if they're going to be charging a toll, they're clearly going to go up. So you're basing information on a clearly temporary situation.
You're trying to predict the fucking future.
No,
I don't come up here and predict the future. I mean, you can say whatever. This is the problem I have with Michael and most of the shit you guys debate. You're trying to debate the future like you have a fucking time machine or a crystal ball. In that case, give me tomorrow's fucking lotto ticket. The same shit I said to Grandma like 5 minutes ago. How about we debate what's in front of us right now? Right now, oil prices
that's the problem.
I'm saying going back down.
That's the problem. I'm saying you cannot debate what's in front of us right now because it's based on what I believe is false information. Most of what's happening in front of us right now that we're debating is coming from the Trump administration, and that stuff is not accurate.
No, those oil prices are from the fucking market. They're not from Trump.
Oil prices are fluctuating based on what Trump is yelling out and people are believing. I gotta move it on, but
it's still what people are paying for oil. It's not like people are paying less, people are paying less and less for oil every day. So that's exactly what.
Right. And if he yells out something,
Trump talking. And the oil's actually cheaper, and people are paying less for it.
Right. And so if he threatens to wipe out Iran tomorrow, the price of oil is going to go right back up, and that is absolutely something that Trump might do.
Win the argument. Then you'll win the argument tomorrow. But today the prices are going down, and I win.
So we basically doing this shit day to day because of Trump. No consistency.
I can only look backwards. I can't look forwards.
I got it.
It looks like oil prices are going down.
All right. Well, good luck with that. MAGA, thanks for coming through. Tap the screen. Get the likes up to 40,000, if you will. We don't block, ban, or censor. This is uncensored programming. You guys know how we run it. We are MAGA friendly. Liberals are welcome as well. Our comments go left to Bernie Sanders, so I'm having a dinner with Q. Black words in the comments on Clapper. Good evening to you. Moving on with the program, I do want to bring up one of my guests on Instagram. We'll go to Dencal. Tim made 12 Las Vegas, Darius Asto, and what are you talking about? Don't know what that means. Gas low and everything else is high as hell. The problem is, like I was telling MAGA Reacts, my last caller, is everything we're doing in the Trump administration is highly unpredictable because you don't know where Trump is going to go next. So it's hard to give Trump solid criticism or credit because he may do something tomorrow that totally fucks up what we're dealing with today or greatly improves it. He is incredibly volatile, threatening to blow up whole countries and shit. He'll tell you today we're in a ceasefire with Iran, and tomorrow he's threatening to nuke them to the Stone Age. How the hell can you react to that? Dencal, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hey, so you heard what MAGA was saying. I saw you in the comments talking about the inflation rates under Biden. Are you suggesting that he was getting something wrong?
The problem I have with speaking to MAGA is that they take one point in time and they make that the standard. They say inflation was at 9% under Biden. Yeah, after we came out of the pandemic and everybody started spending and everybody went back to work, supply and demand was fucked up. So yes, inflation went up because yes, everybody was trying to continue working and buying fuel and doing the same things they were before the pandemic. We did not have the supply.
Yeah, I've said that before myself, Dencal. By the way, folks, help your boy with the hat and mustache. TikTok cap goes on TikTok and smash that like button. They generally compare the worst of the Biden administration to the best of the Trump administration to make a point. So I do see that.
Right. So when they say that again, what I would like for you to do, I mean, you run your show how you want to, but look at the worst things under Trump and then say, this is Trump.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When Biden left office, inflation was at, 2.8, 2.9, almost 3%. Now it's 4.2. They don't want to acknowledge the 4.2. They just want to say, well, it was worse under Biden because at the height, it was 9%.
Yeah, that's what I said. They're picking the worst of the Biden administration and making it sound like that. You know, that was
the whole time. They'd be like, gas was $5 under Biden. Gas was just under $3 when Biden left office.
I said that when gas had got up really high under Trump right after the war began a couple months ago. The MAGA side of the aisle, they were saying that, well, it ain't as bad as Biden. Gas was $5 under Biden. And I said the same thing you said, is that when Biden left office, gas went nowhere near $5. You're using the worst point in time out of all 4 years Biden was in office to try to suggest that gas was like that the whole time, and it just is not true.
Right. And then you could use the same thing with the stock market. When Trump was in office, and the pandemic happened, the market dropped like thousands of points. But we don't use that to evaluate him and say the market dropped, 20, 30%, and choose that number as our goal, as our marker. No, what do? Oh, the market is at an all-time high right now. Well, how many times was it an all-time high under Biden?
Yeah. And that's what I was personally criticizing both Biden and Kamala Harris for doing exactly that. Telling Americans that we're struggling to buy, eggs and struggling to buy groceries and shit. that the economy was great because of the stock market. And I was saying that then is that people are not judging the economy based on the stock market. They're judging the economy based on whether they can pay rent, buy gas, or feed their family. And MAGA totally understood that until Trump got elected and started doing the same shit. Now all of a sudden they're going back to this. Well, the stock, you got Pam Bondi. The Dow is at 50,000. Who the fuck is looking at the Dow among working Americans?
They was talking about the Epstein files, and she was like,
The Dow.
Why are we talking about that? We should be talking. Yeah, it's crazy because 50,000 or 100,000 or 100 million doesn't matter to like 80% of the American people.
Right.
Because they're not in the fucking Dow. They don't care.
Yeah. And like I said, the MAGA side of the aisle totally understood that when Biden was in office. The minute Trump got in office, suddenly, maybe we should pay attention to the Dow that we have no involvement with. It suddenly became an issue all of a sudden.
So when somebody says to me, when I say, Biden passed the Inflation Reduction Act, and it was like, well, it didn't reduce the inflation at all. But then if you go and look where inflation was at when he passed the law, and then you look at what it was when he left office, it was almost like 10% different. It went lower as a trend, but they would never give him credit for the Inflation Reduction Act, which the inflation went down. Whether you think he was right or wrong, the actual reality was the Inflation Reduction Act reduced inflation. But
well,
you can say, Trump said he was going to reduce your price. Well, we just got to give it a couple of more months, it's high now, but it's going down.
Well, I'll give Trump.
But gas is going down now. Why? Because he started a fucking war and it went up.
Yeah, but you got to give Trump credit for that simple thing is that he knows how to brand people. Like, no matter what happened under Biden, Trump was successfully branding Biden as the worst president we've ever had. Like right now, let me ask you this. Right now, Trump is branding virtually every Democrat breathing as a socialist or a communist. Do you think what he is doing, do you think that branding is sticking?
I think it's working with the people who are already going to be, agreeing with him. But anybody with any type of common sense could understand that you can't call somebody a socialist one day, then call them a communist the next day, and then they agree. That means that they don't understand or they don't know what a fucking communist is or a socialist.
Yeah, and
they have no idea.
Not only do they not understand, but the fact is Trump ain't just calling them socialists and communists. He's also calling them Marxists, fascists. Nobody can be all of these fucking different things at the same time. So no.
But then when something pops off and they say, well, the Democrats need to tone it down because it's making people be more violent.
That's MAGA reacts.
A name, like, no, that's not what the fuck happens with crazy people.
That's exactly what MAGA reacts says, is that the Democrats need to tone it down because their rhetoric towards Trump is leading to folks trying to take him out. That's exactly what they're saying.
It is ridiculous. Like, we can have a conversation with them and they could be like, oh, well, yeah, it was Antifa that stormed the Capitol. And then we'd be like, well, he pardoned everybody that was at the Capitol. Did he pardon Antifa? Well, no. Dude, make up your mind. I'm trying to have a reasonable conversation with you. And I'm not getting anything. I'm getting talking points the whole time. And it's disheartening.
That's a really good point you make, is that they suggest that Trump Trump did claim that Antifa was present on January 6th. And you're right, he pardoned everybody. So that is a great question to ask MAGA. So that means Trump pardoned Antifa. And then all of a sudden, it's like they hit a wall when you say that, because they never thought about it. They never thought about that.
Right. I can't. It makes it really hard to like have a conversation with somebody like MAGA Reacts or some of your other MAGA people, because they don't, their conversations are not well thought out. And then when you bring this to them, they have no other thing to do but to just be like when Aunt Esther and Red Fox used to argue, and when one of them used to get the best of the other one, they just be like, your mama. Because they don't have nothing else. They be like, fuck you, your mama.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they, I'm listening to them try to have a conversation. Mike is trying to have a conversation. He's using statistics and stuff. And then they just be like, well, no, you just wrong.
Well, if you actually went by statistics and a lot of things like that, I mean, even if you truly support Trump in your MAGA, you'd have to admit, there's a lot of things Trump says that MAGA knows some of this stuff is wrong. I think the belief is, first of all, Kamala Harris is going to destroy the damn country with all these blue-haired liberals and gay people and immigrants everywhere. So they're looking at it like, even if Trump exaggerates, because they're not going to call it a lie, they're going to say he's just exaggerating or embellishing the truth. So even if he's not always spot on honest, he's still worlds above Kamala Harris. Even if he's posting pictures of himself as Jesus, we'd rather deal with that than all these trans loonies running around. So I think that's what it is that I don't think MAGA even believes everything Trump says is true. Like the idea that somebody took a fucking, what did he call it, a box cutter, went into the pool and walked 350 continuous feet, slicing all along the way in an area with cameras everywhere. I don't even think MAGA believes that. But
all they have to go off of is a former Olympian laying down in the pool, and they say he violently, with two hands, ripped off a piece of it. Like, it just makes
I just think that Trump did such a good job convincing folks that the liberals were going to turn America into, decrepit Venezuela at the time or whatever, that they're like, look, he ain't perfect, but he's a world better than Kamala Harris or Biden. So he can take.
You can't just say you say he like convinced people, but why can't you just say like he got them into the cult? Like he ushered them into a point where they don't have an opinion of themselves. They operate on what he said.
Well, because I don't think they're all in the cult. I don't think Tucker Carlson. I don't think Marjorie Taylor. Wait, hold on.
I'm not generalizing and saying everybody that agrees with Trump is in the cult. But what I'm saying is that if you ask a person like a rational question, and then you can show them proof, and then they just spout off these lines that have been fed to them, like, oh yeah, Trump is doing better than. Oh, Kamala wasn't in charge of shit ever. Yeah. But they keep using her as they show President Obama as a monkey, and they be like, well, that was just at the end of the thing, and he probably didn't see it, and like, how can you really?
I said this, I think I just told MAGA Reacts, or one of my earlier guests, that they say, well, thank God Kamala Harris is not running the country, and I say that. At the very most, all we can do is speculate on Kamala Harris. Just like Mike Pence, we don't know what kind of leader these people would have been. They never got the chance to do it. So you might think Kamala Harris would have been horrible, but that's just speculation. You don't know.
It's all just speculation. And then when you try to provide them with information, what they do is they jump to the worst of Biden. They go to the worst. They go to when we were losing 3,000 people, a day to COVID. They just skip all of that stuff that was handed to him from Trump. They just skip over all of that.
Yeah, they're just.
When inflation was low. No shit. Inflation was low in the middle of the fucking pandemic because nobody had fucking money. And then you can't gouge people. You can't charge people extra shit if nobody has money. You selling shit as low as possible if you want to run a business. That's why shit is low. It's not because Trump did something miraculous.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's hard to speculate on a lot of this stuff because you just never know. Like, I often use George H.W. Bush the Elder. Ronald Reagan is known as like one of the most successful presidents the Republican side ever had. His vice president was George H.W. His presidency was a complete failure. So you can't look at a VP and automatically assume they're going to do everything the same as the actual president. Because H.W. and Ronald Reagan are like totally opposites of each other. So they look at Kamala Harris and they're like you said, they're pointing out the worst of the Biden administration and just assuming she's going to do all of that stuff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's you know, I don't get to get up here as much as I want to. You know, I'm ever since I denounced
TikTok.
and
You know, you can meet us on. I'm on Clapper and Instagram. Or you're on Instagram, Clapper and Substack as well.
Well, I tried to go over there and I wasn't able to connect. This was the only place I was able to connect.
Okay.
And then I realized that in order for me to get in here and not have a bunch of feedback through Instagram is that I had to make sure I closed out all of the other stuff. I had to close out Clapper. I had to close out anything.
Yeah, that makes
other
sense.
than just Instagram to be able to have a conversation. And then, you know, my birthday came up because, you know, I'm a 4th of July baby.
Oh,
So
wow.
I just had my birthday, so I was out doing a whole bunch of other stuff. But I was looking at your show and I was listening to a whole bunch of people, and I was like, because I always write down questions and stuff that I have, or you know.
Give me happy belated. My birthday is about 5 or 6 days before yours, but give me some of the questions. We'll tackle a couple of them.
I was thinking about one of them with the young lady in the seat, and then they tried to use her past to say, well, she had.
Wow. Yeah, let me go ahead and describe that for folks who don't know. And I should have had that picture to show you folks. But this African American woman here sitting on the subway car, whatever this is, among all of these Patriot Front guys. She has a rap sheet. Back in 2024, she was arrested for basically taking a shit on one of these cars. And the right is saying that, you know, she's the only criminal that's on this, you know, because nobody did anything to her. And they protested peacefully that day. So what they're saying is, out of all these people on this car, she's the only criminal. Now, before we continue, Cal, I did a video on this and I stated, there's no fucking way to know. The only reason we know she's the only criminal is because she's the only one that does not have a mask on and you can identify her. For all you know, this train car may be filled with wife beaters, pedophiles, and all sorts of felons. You don't know if these dudes have not committed crimes in their past. Her crime is 2 years ago. You're going to tell me all of these Patriot Front guys have no criminal history at all when you don't even know who the hell they are? There's no way to know that. At least she did show her face. Didn't count.
We know some of those guys in the Patriot Fronts have criminal records because some of them were there on January 6th, and they've been part. I'll just say that up front.
Yeah.
The other thing is that she has a record, but we don't know whether maybe she might be mentally ill or whatever. Like, she took a shit on the train, but she's still using the fucking train. Evidently, she's not like...
She wasn't trespassed. She didn't get trespassed.
Maybe she drunk some shit or ate some shit, you know, in Washington, D.C. on the damn way, and there was no bathroom. Like, I can't say what her crime was.
We do know she was not trespassed, I guess you could say. So, yeah, it could be. I mean, mental illness probably sounds highly likely for somebody taking a shit out in public.
But she's not on the train right there acting a fucking donkey or nothing. She's just sitting there. And what I tried to attribute that to was... Because some people had attributed to a Rosa Parks. They was like, well, you know, Rosa Parks wasn't the original person that, you know, that refused to get off the train. It was actually another woman who refused to get off the train. And then the civil rights movement, they understood that was a situation, so they sent Rosa Parks to sit on the train.
Oh, so that was done deliberately by Rosa Parks.
Yes.
I didn't know
Yes.
that.
Rosa Parks was not the original woman who was told to move and got arrested. But the civil rights movement, they knew that was going on, so they picked Rosa Parks.
So she stole somebody else's thunder.
Technically. But that was the civil rights movements, and that's what we had to use to get our point across. But what I want to say about that is I want to attribute that to something that was similar. When America was fighting the war, and then we went and we won over Iwo Jima, remember the people that were lifting up the flag and that prestigious thing
that was also set up.
That was also set up to make America look good in that situation. Those were not the original people who had conquered Iwo Jima and put that flag up. But once they got together, they was like, well, we need to commemorate this. They got the people to stand there and lift the flag up, and they took pictures of it. And that's what we see right now. So when they do it, it's okay. When we do it, it's fucked up.
I get your point. Well said. Give me the next one.
All right.
And anyway, before you continue, in the comments, Handsome Conservative says, this is why you're wrong. If Biden's economy was good, Democrats would be in power. There's more to it than that, Handsome Conservative. Hold on, hang on. Hold on a second. There's more to it, Conservative, because under Trump's first term, he had a good economy, and he lost in 2020. So there are other metrics people judge you by. It's the economy, stupid. Who is it, Carville or James Carville? I mean, that's a popular slogan, and it does matter. But there are other things going on. So you could have a good economy and still not get elected. I mean, Biden's age, the border, there's other things going on as well that Trump, fortunately, was able to convince people that was more important than just the economy. So, and by the way, you say if the Democrats, you say Democrats will still be in power. I think Biden running beyond his years hurt the Democrats' chances. I think if Biden had ran as a one-term president, gave the Democrats a chance to really, solidify their choices and pick a better candidate, I'm not 100% certain Trump would have won. Certainly putting up a black woman, that's two strikes. Whereas if they had to put up maybe Gavin Newsom or some other, what is the Arizona Senator Kelly, I don't know if Trump would have won. It depends on who they put up. Go ahead, didn't count.
Okay, and the other one was, it went back to Ray, and I hate to do this because I know that any conservatives or just even white people would be like, well, why do they always talk about race and stuff? But I just wanted to bring up, because y'all had conversations when you started about race. And what I wanted to say was that I understand your perspective that like we have all of these rights and stuff now, but what I want everybody to understand is that things trend in countries and governments and everything. So when you say like, why we can't do this or why we not doing that right now? But I looked up the what's called the non-marital childbearing by detailed race and Hispanic origin of mother and manager. Basically, what it says is that everybody in the country over time has been trending more and more to having,
less kids.
Yeah, or children out of wedlock. So, but we always concentrate on why black people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why do black people? So when I started looking at the trends, I looked at all of the races. I looked at white, black, Asian, Hispanic, and then I looked by year. And so I'm looking in the 80s. In the 80s, it was like white people was like only 18%, were having children out of wedlock. And 81% of black African Americans were having children out of wedlock. And so we can all have an understanding of why it was like that, because hell, shit, white people broke up the black families on purpose, and then they made sure, if you was going to get help from the government.
Yeah, the welfare thing is what really hurt the black family by requiring any family that received welfare to not have a man in the house. So you literally had men saying, "Look, right now I'm unemployed, baby, and the family needs something to eat, so I'll just go stay with my mom, or I'll go hang out with my boys, so you can get it."
Said, "Look, I gotta raise my kids. I can't have you here."
Yeah, that was terrible. That you're right. Requiring a woman receiving welfare to not have a man in the house. Yeah, that certainly broke up a lot of black families, and I have no clue why they did that, other than to purposely break up black families. That's a stain.
Guess what? Because the poor white people were living in trailer parks. They didn't have the same rule structure. The white man was still living there. But I'm not going to go into that. I'm trying to give you a trend. So now that I'm looking at decade by decade, so the whites were at 18% back then. They're now at 40% now. No, not now. I'm saying this went from the 80s to 2015. So they went from 18% to 40%. Why did it do that? You know what I'm saying? What caused that? Because when y'all talking about cause and effect and why black people are this or that, now I'm asking the same question, because the same thing happened to Asian. Everybody's shit went up.
Well, I think a lot of it is, because you see the right talking about bringing back Christianity. I think taking religion out, with the average American being less and less religion, I think that's probably one of the most harmful things to marriage. And I'm not very religious, but I'll tell you, religion will keep some marriages together, because people believe that God wants this to be that way. Once you take God out of the picture, promiscuity and divorces and all of that stuff is okay. So as we become less and less religious, you're going to probably have, no fault divorces don't work in religious communities. God would never like that. Is he, with marriage not having the value anymore like it does in the religious community? Like you go to Muslim countries where they're very religious, ain't nobody getting divorced. You're gonna die before you divorce this dude. So in America, where you can just say, I'm done, irreconcilable difference. You don't even have to state the reason you're getting divorced. We just couldn't get along. That ain't acceptable in a religious climate. And America's getting less and less religious. So people are breaking up, leading to single parents and kids out of wedlock and all this other shit. So if there is one area of life, I will say religion benefits, is maintaining the marriage rate. A lot of other areas, I'm not a fan of religion, but that's one area, because people are told that.
But then at the same token, how can we have all of these people that vote for a motherfucker that done divorced 3 women? He done cheated on all of them. He got 3 baby mamas with 5 kids. But then we talking about how he making America great again. I'm just trying to make it make sense.
I gotta move it on, of course, but I'll just tell you this. God works in mysterious ways, didn't count. He sent a flawed man to do his work. And that's how MAGA may see it. Look, Trump himself is not perfect. He don't always follow the teachings of the Lord. But with him in office, we're going to get far more of what the Lord wants for us than we would with Kamala Harris or Biden. This is how I think they see it.
Do we have any trends?
Yes. You're getting, thanks to Trump, you're getting a government that is now beginning to protect the sanctity of life. They're putting religion back in school so children can now grow up knowing the word. Yeah, they're getting what they want, even if it's coming from a flawed man like Trump.
Damn word, when I was in school or you was in school, we wasn't getting the word. That's not going to make us a better country or make us more biblical. The fact of the matter is, trends are trends, and over time, shit changes.
They disagree with you. I gotta go. They disagree with that. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm going to say MAGA disagrees with it. I believe MAGA has closer to the mindset of what I just described. Den Caldo, I appreciate you coming through. Thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate
Take
it. Tap the screen, folks. Get the likes on them. Help your boy out with the hat, mustache, TikTok cap goals. Haven't seen any love in quite a while. Show your boy some love, certainly with that TikTok cap. We're nowhere near to go, so show your boy some love. In the comments, when you used to do the Pledge of a Literature, what does it says? When you used to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and all those people that grew up that did that were not as disrespectful as the ones that didn't. I don't know if anybody in my era did not put their hand on their heart and pledge allegiance to the flag. Everybody did it. Kids back then were a lot more impressionable, did not have as much education in terms of what they can get on the internet and talk to other people, and they didn't ask as many questions. Like when we grew up, nobody questioned, when we were really young, nobody was really questioning Columbus Day and stuff like they do now. Nowadays, the kids are straight up calling it Indigenous People Day, which is why I'm against putting religion in schools in this current, more educated children environment. You're gonna have people in this current environment that are at the age of adolescence telling each other this religion shit is bullshit. You're gonna have 4th and 5th graders telling each other this stuff ain't real. This is just like Santa Claus. We would have never said that at our age. We genuinely believed when we were, under 12, 13 years of age. They know better. So I do believe if you put religion in schools now, you're going to have a lot more clashing than you would have in our age. Because the kids, the young kids nowadays are going to be straight up telling you this God, some of them are going to be telling you this God shit ain't real. We didn't say that when we were younger. We really believed it. So in the comments, the man needs love. Take my money, please. Thank you, Hands for Conservative, because they're not showing the program any love today. Rush, tough show today. Hat mustache, TikTok cap goes. Sound like a fantasy. Speaking of love, though, good evening. Allow dissenting opinions. Love, come on up. Be my dissenting opinion. What is going wrong with the show today? What are we getting wrong, love?
I do feel that you allow people to talk a little bit longer than need to be. Get their opinion and allow other people to either come up on your show to, go back and back, dispute their opinion, not just one individual talking so long. People get off of work, they've been hearing you for majority of the day, and they can't wait to get in. When I say people, I'm talking about myself.
Okay, well,
it's a few things that I waited, some time to talk to you about, and I couldn't do so because it was jumbling everywhere around. And I'm not just talking about myself. I'm talking about anybody that's in the request, waiting to come up.
Fair enough. I'll note that. I've been considering. I haven't had enough guests push back in the same manner, but I've been considering limiting the time of the guests a little bit. But to really get a feel of what the guest is thinking, you do need to talk to them a little bit longer than 5 minutes. I mean, I really want to give folks a chance to say what they got to say, push back where I think they're getting it wrong, and even have them have time to push back as well. So sometimes that takes a little bit longer. But other than that, what brought you up?
The reason why I brought up, because I've been hearing, certain individuals on your page, or you even yourself have mentioned how gas prices hiring and lowering. Which I need to understand. When it's high, it's those people that can never get back the money, even when it goes back low. So that means nothing to individuals that have to go back and forth to work, some travel an hour, half an hour, or what it may be. They can never get back that money once it goes high.
Yeah.
And when it goes high, it needs to be for a reason. When we're helping Americans, due to C-19, we understood that it went high. Nobody was traveling. But for a man-made incident to take money out of our pockets and say, what is that? Short-term game, boo And
Short-term
nobody
pain.
want to hear that.
Well,
Yeah,
wait a
that's
minute.
money that we could never get back into our pocket.
But what about what Trump and MAGA? But hold on. What about what Trump and MAGA often says is that, look, yeah, it's going to cost you a little bit more money in gas, but we're preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear bomb that they were just about to get, and they were going to use it on Americans. So you shouldn't mind paying a little bit more money. It's making you safe.
Well, you know, like I know, Iran has been America's issues for a long time. What I'm talking about, people that have issues with sending their kids to college, trying to pay rent, mortgages, trying to put food on the table. We've done hear about Iran. That's synonymous when we was hearing about Bush and their freaking issue that had going on.
Wait a minute.
You know,
If he is,
when you got people like me, when they come. If they're gonna get it, they're gonna get it anyway.
No, wait. If he is, hold on.
What they need to focus on is what's going on within our country that's making us ill immediately.
If he is telling you, if he is telling you that Iran was only a week away from developing a nuclear bomb and they were going to use it and kill tens of thousands of Americans, you're telling me he wasn't supposed to do nothing about that, just focus on gas, and if they come, they come?
No, what I'm basically saying to you, you'll be a fool if you believe it.
Okay, that's different.
What I'm saying is that every time that we step out into this World Forum, we should be thinking about us if we are true Americans, not what somebody possibly or can or might do. And if they try it, we got to arm ourselves and be ready to deflect it immediately at all costs. But right now, only people that's getting rich is you know who. The individuals that have an alignment with our government, because we are the people are funding them immediately, expeditionally. You know, that's why we have situations where, I'm sorry, I know other people want to talk, so I don't want to go into that. I just want to touch another subject.
Okay.
I heard you earlier say, why can people from different countries come over here and do better than black people? You know.
That ain't what I said. That's not what I said. What I asked is, why out of all of the demographics are African Americans in 2026, 250 years after the country became a nation, why are we still lagging behind every group? Why is African Americans still lagging behind everybody else?
Unfortunately, because we're Americans. You know, you can call yourself African American, but they don't really target African first, second generation Americans. They target Americans, specifically Black Americans. It's the same thing. In order for something to be on the top, they got to be something on the bottom, and they made us that bottom people. They don't want us to come back. If you can ask yourself why Jesse Owens came from Germany. The N-word Germany. And when he came over here, sat at a table and they refused to feed him after he done won greatness for America, put us on a world stage. They said they wouldn't feed him, but they said that's African.
I'm not hearing why we're not.
Where I'm coming from, you can look it up. They said that African, and if that African were praised, but that Black American, Jesse Owens, that was on a world stage and beat those N-words up. And you know what I'm talking about when I say
I get what you're saying, but I'm asking you, why are African Americans lagging behind all these other groups in 2026? You're giving me Jesse Owens and Hitler?
No, what I'm telling you is that because they preferred to feed them and up-prop them opposed to the Black Americans that was here fighting, not just for us, but for America.
That's not happening. That's not happening now, though. Any Black person can get food.
It is. You do have to realize when they come over here, they don't come over here with broken shoes. They don't come over here straight. They come over here in sponsorship. They gotta have money to come up over here. You know, BV citizenships. They don't just walk up over here and create a whole life for themselves. You know what I'm saying? They have family members that's over here that's doing well, that are assimilated to whiteness. We picking ourselves up. You can say it like I'm gonna say it, by the bootstrap. And what we've done in this country have never been recognized. We was not able to even get monetary gain for the patterns that we caused. We wasn't even allowed to get paid for the pattern. There was no generational wealth over here. Like, if you realize it, in 1970, we wasn't even allowed to go to a different place where our kids could be educated. We had to create that.
Well,
And once we created it, it's the individual that you know I'm gonna say the name. You know I'm gonna say the name. But that specific individual, he modernized our HBCU. He got rid of all of the colleges that we were doing.
is this something? Wait a minute. Is this something? Hold on. Is this something that only applied to African
I'm
Americans?
talking about Rockefeller. I'm talking about
That ain't what I. No, that's not what I want. That's not. Hold on. Let me respond to you.
Sure.
What I'm asking you is this something that only applied to African Americans? Were Asians, were Hispanics allowed in every neighborhood, allowed to do anything they want, and they only held back African Americans?
If I heard you correctly, you said Asian, and what other group was
Hispanics.
only allowed, and what
Hispanics.
was only allowed where?
I'm saying because you're pointing to how African Americans
I'm
were.
saying that they was only allowed into our neighborhoods. They was given even grants to come into our neighborhoods. That's why we had liquor stores. That's why we had certain little clusters of food stores. We now call them bodegas. Yes, they were given specific.
They were giving Hispanics. Were Hispanics getting? Wait. Was Hispanics getting grants too? Hispanics, Mexicans, were they getting grants?
Mexican after. See, you gotta understand what the Bacon Rebellion did. It gave Italian. It gave Irish. It gave other groups grants.
Hispanics. You're not addressing Hispanics.
So yes, they were given grants specifically. They couldn't go into the white neighborhood. They were specifically given these business grants, but they can only go into our neighborhood where we was excluded from such grants.
Yeah.
We were excluded for GI grants. You know what I'm saying? When we were the ones, Tim, you know we built this country, man. If it wasn't for cotton, if it wasn't for whatever, but we didn't get that generational wealth other people had. We had patterns.
Well, the point I'm making is some of these other cultures do not have generational wealth either. Some of these other cultures you're talking about, they don't have. I mean, the Hispanic community did not have generational wealth either.
When you talk about the Hispanic community, you're talking about a whole globe of people that was conquered by the Spaniards.
Okay, they were here though. They were here in America.
The Mexicans was here in America, and they were conquered by the Spaniards. So we could talk about them. We could talk about them, and when I want to talk about them, they're subjugated just like us. Now, if you want to talk about Spanish communities like the Ecuadorians, like the Peruvians, we could tell how they was coming over here, even the Filipinos, because they was conquered by the Spanish too. We could tell how they came over here on visas. Like when I was working in one facility, healthcare facility, they came over here, just had to train within that healthcare facility I was working in, take a test, and they was able to become nurses. However, majority of the black people were caregivers, right? We're caregivers, certified nurses, whatever, was trained in that same facility, but they didn't allow us that. You know, we can go on and on about this. It does not stop. It is something that they hated against the black Americans. Now, anybody ain't black American, but something about the black Americans that they needed us to be that boogeyman Bring it back to anybody on the top. Somebody got to be on the bottom. So yes. And when I say Jesse Owens, I just want to give you an outlook how he went over there, was starred, gave it up for America. We brought that trophy back, but he had to go into the back door. But yet that African Nigerian American was able to sit at that same table with the white people and travel through the front door. Don't you think that is an experience that most black people have? You know, not for nothing we have wars given on us. Oh, I look at my mama and see her hand.
Look, I can't denounce that. It was an unfortunate time.
She worked the same lands that she brought. When eminent domain came in, they didn't take those African or whomever that came over here through the front door when they was allowed to. They took her land. When they talk about Chicago, ooh, that burns my soul. Because you know damn well that they put them temporarily in those projects until they could build a suburb for those individuals that was living in those projects. Yeah. When I say the individuals, I'm talking about the white people. Then they defunded it.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree. Listen,
in my small mind, because I'm not smart, right? In my small mind, I knew it was something.
Yeah, listen.
My school was defunded, and then their school was funded and given more money. When they were sitting there fighting for funding to go to my school, they said the reason why we're not giving your school the funding that you need for something simple as books, pencils.
Yeah.
Because
look, but as you hold on, as you point, hold on, hang on a second. As you pointed out, time is a constraint. I'm going to have to move it on for time purposes. Interesting. You pointed that. See, you do understand now. It takes time to get your point out. I mean, so I just want to make sure you understand that. But I do got to move it on.
When it comes to my people, I have to
exactly.
Be resilient. I'm talking about my people.
I'm just telling you. Everybody has a topic that they're passionate about. That you got a chance to see.
Don't let them play in your face and say that we're slums or whatever the case may be. The only reason why they have their wealth and they're able to come up over here is because of us.
All right.
We built it.
Fair enough. I got to move it on. Thank you for coming through, love. Appreciate it. In the comments, the Nardy Boy says, Tim, try talking with an ex-MAGA. Trump's popularity is some shit for a reason. Is that what you're saying? Trump's popularity is some shit for a reason. They would have a unique perspective. Nardy Boy, we do Jeremy, one of our first guests on the show. Jeremy is ex-MAGA. He's ex-MAGA. So we do talk to ex-MAGA. We talk to current MAGA. We'll talk to MAGA of any type. But Jeremy is ex-MAGA, and we talked to him. I think there's a couple other ones we've brought up before. I don't know if I've ever brought Natalie up anytime soon, recently. Last time I talked to Natalie on the program, I think she was still MAGA. She's ex-MAGA. We do get them on here. We the Rebel says, this is the kind of bullshit you pass down to your children that keeps black people held back. This is your generational wealth. He's talking about my last caller. Look, I'm going to just say this, and I see the comments. Teddy Owens says she said what she said. And real quick, Handsome Conservative says, maybe if you weren't so hard on Christian beliefs, you might receive more love. Is that what I'm doing? Am I too hard on the Christians? You guys let me know that, because, yeah, this program ain't nobody showing your boy no love. The hat, mustache, TikTok cap goes, goddamn, horrible. Horrible. Am I banging on Christians too much? I forgot what the point I was about to make. But I don't know. I don't know. Like I've said before, I acknowledge the African American community. And thank you, DJ Shake Some. Appreciate that. I acknowledge the African American community. The history towards African Americans in this country is horrible, deplorable. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong for saying this, but I don't believe you should be completely down on your luck as an African American living on the street because of what the white man has done. I don't believe what's going on in modern society is based on that. I don't think anything is stopping an African American that wants to go out and work hard, get an education, and live right by society from living the American dream. I believe it's absolutely possible for a black person to do that. I don't drive through Chicago or LA somewhere and look at the homeless population and say that's all the white man's fault. I just think if you go out and work and get an education and make the effort, I think you can achieve the American dream currently as a black person. Is there more hurdles to it? In some cases, yeah, depending on the field of choice, there may be more hurdles. Depending on where you come up at in America, there may be more hurdles. I see in the comments, Alicia's kind of saying the point is we have to work 10 times as hard. I don't think you have to work 10 times as hard. It depends on where you're at and what field of expertise you're getting involved in. I mean, look, in Chicago, where I'm from, people work at the Ford auto plant, making Ford cars. Most of the plant is African American. And most of them folks in there are union and making good. I don't think they work 10 times as hard to get to that job. Now, if you're in a rural Mississippi town somewhere, that may be the case. That absolutely may be the case in some places in America. I'm not going to say this applies to all, but there's a lot of successful brothers and sisters working in those liberal cities that the Republicans bash all the time. Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, DC, Philly, Detroit. There's a lot of successful black people that are living American dream, working in union jobs, the guys working for the post office, guys working for the, driving a garbage truck or driving a tow truck or working for the police department. There's a lot of African Americans that are doing quite well in those liberal cities, which is why I don't see how the right expects folks on the left, particularly people of color, to buy into their argument of liberal cities are shitholes. That's where most of the African Americans living the American dream live. They ain't living in West Virginia. They're living in liberal cities. So I do believe it's achievable still. I don't buy into the notion that you always have to work 10 times as hard. It depends on what you're trying to do. It shouldn't be in any field. You should be given an equal playing field no matter what you're trying to do. I agree with that. I do agree that there are hurdles, like what Kamala Harris was trying to do. You're going to tell me her being black was not a hurdle at all? Yeah, it was. Same thing with Obama. It was absolutely a hurdle. Same thing with Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice and all of them. It is a hurdle. But they also are trying to reach the pinnacle of success. But if you just want a picket fence, a nice car, and a home, I think if you're willing to go and put in the work, get educated, I think as an African American, you can do that in America. At least right now you can. I mean, most of the folks that I'm talking to on these apps that are African American are telling me they're doing that now. All of them are doing it. I got folks on here who are talking about they make more money than white people. They could be lying about it, but I do believe if you just want a house, nice car, decent job, you can get that in America. And I'm not going to say that Trump's firing of all those federal workers falls on deaf ears. Because what Trump had Doge do, or what Doge did at the blessing of Trump, that ruined the American dream for a lot of black people. There's no denying that. Those federal employees that Trump was dumping by the thousands, Trump took away a lot of African Americans' American dream by doing that. I read an article somewhere that pointed that out, because Trump talks about, well, they're all doing okay in the private sector now. They're not. That is a flat out fucking lie that President Trump told. Many of them folks still don't have a job, or they're working for significantly less than they were at listen, if you work for the federal government, you know that's a pretty damn good job to have. Comes with a pension and everything. They're not doing just as well in the private sector, which is what Trump tried to say. No, you fucked up a lot of Americans by firing those people and using their money to get yourself a refurbished jet or some kind of tribunal arch. Yeah, he fucked over a lot of people. I'm not disagreeing with that part. Trump certainly took the American dream away from a lot of people of color, predominantly women. But still, I do believe if you work hard and get educated, you can achieve the American dream in this country. I just think that Trump didn't do any of those who had already achieved it any favors whatsoever. And he's also done it to a lot of people in the military. We the Rebel says this is the kind of bull. Oh, yeah, I saw that already. Tap the screen. They were just sitting and they were just sitting on their lazy asses doing nothing, period, says Daniel Cook. Yeah, if you believe Trump, if you believe Elon Musk, if you believe Trump, you believe all kinds of shit. You believe that the picture he posted of himself as God is only a doctor. Newsflash, Trump don't always tell the fucking truth. Trump, you go into a department and you fire 50% of the department and claim they were all just lazy sitting on their asses. Yeah, that's what he's telling you. That's not true. I don't believe it's true by any stretch of the imagination. That's just what he's telling you. And then it just happens to all be people of color and LGBT and minorities, huh? Just happen to spot them kind of people, huh? Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're hiring the likes of Pete Hegseth and all these unqualified people to positions, but you're getting rid of people that's been working somewhere for 20, 30 years and claiming this for performance. But meanwhile, this dude is transmitting confidential information on unsecure apps and shit, and you're claiming he's doing a great job. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Trump is a good judge of character on this shit. You fire a bunch of federal employees saying they're lazy and they're not productive, but then you look at the folks on January 6th and you call them patriots. I don't think he's a real good judge of character on some of this shit. That's all I'm saying. In the comments, Daniel, I have a feeling you believe everything Trump says, right? A known comment. Yeah, I don't believe everything Trump says. The ceasefires, all of this shit. The Strait of Hormuz is open. Trump has said a lot of things that are not true. So I'm not anywhere near 100% sure what he said about all those federal workers he fired was true. Because in the end, they actually hired a bunch of them back. I don't buy into that. Gangsta Grandma, tap the screen, folks. Get the likes up to 70,000, if you will. Gangsta, good evening.
I can't stand you.
You say that every damn day.
Because you stay fluffing, man.
Ain't nobody
Damn,
fluffing. You just finding bullshit. You just complain. Ain't nobody fluffing.
And let's get some shit straight.
Please do.
The housing, nobody could afford a house right now. It's overpriced.
I got African Americans, black people in my family all over the damn place. They got houses. That ain't true. People can't afford houses.
Right now, you cannot buy a home. They're over $400,000 right now. What the fuck? Go look this shit up. And then,
wait. You gonna tell me you can't purchase a home in America for less than $400,000?
A lot of people, the ones that are first time buyers of shit, they cannot. That's why, you stupid numbnut.
You're telling me first time home buyers cannot purchase a home for less than $400,000.
They can't.
You need to move if that's true.
It's too expensive.
That's
what
not
are you
true.
talking about? Oh, go Google it right now. Google it. It's the most unaffordable housing market right now. That's why you can't do it. You're stupid.
No house.
You're fucking stupid.
No home for a new home buyer costs less than $400,000.
And guess what? Trump didn't sign it. The thing to help people buy homes, he did sign it because of the state act. Shut the fuck up.
Okay, let me tell you. Hold on.
No, you're fat.
You're talking bullshit. Let me tell you something.
No, I'm not.
You're just talking. You don't want to hear because you're talking like you're full of shit. Let me tell you something.
Okay, I'm so full of shit.
If you live in Florida or where you're at on the West Coast, yeah, houses cost. If you're buying a house in the middle of Kansas or buying a house in Iowa, so you ain't paying no $400,000 for a house on average.
It's unaffordable.
It ain't $400,000. It ain't $400,000.
Unaffordable.
You said $400,000.
I said it's unaffordable.
Did you say $400,000?
It's over $400,000.
Did you?
It's unaffordable.
Did you say $400,000?
I said in some places it's over $400,000.
Okay. All right. You're wrong.
Google it.
The housing.
Google it. Ask who's gonna be living in whatchamacallit. it is unaffordable.
So what do you-
Housing
so-
right now is unaffordable for anybody. What the fuck are you talking about? You got a fucking platform. That's how stupid you fucking are.
So what are you
have a
saying?
platform
So
and
what
you
are you
don't
saying? What are you saying right now? That everybody that works at Century 21 and Remax is out of a job because nobody's buying houses?
People can't afford homes. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
It's the truth. Look it up. Look it up. Under Trump, they are saying it is the most unaffordable. Unaffordable. Now, even rent is going through the roof right now. You gonna call me a liar about that shit too?
No. I'm calling you a liar about the 400K number.
Go Google it.
What I'm saying is this. I agree with you that home prices are damn near reaching the pinnacle of being unaffordable. But but people are still are. I know some young people who just bought homes that are not making a mint.
Go ahead, dog. I'm so done.
Okay.
You know what? You over here saying that you know all this shit, but you're not though. You're not though. You sound stupid as fuck. You allow the white man to come up here and spill misinformation. You let them say colored and shit. But yeah, if I say cracker, you call me a racist. But yeah, you let them say colored, you don't even call them out their fucking name. I'm honest to God getting sick of your platform. I truly fucking am. And I am again your top gifter because you fucking cry all the goddamn time and people don't fucking give to you.
Okay, first of all, we try to avoid the tears on this program.
I'm not fucking crying, bitch. What am I fucking crying?
Who's accusing you of crying?
It is unaffordable. Look at your little friend there. Yes, housing is widely considerable unaffordable. You numb nut.
What else you
What
got?
the fuck? You want me to scream it out? You numb nut? So your
Listen.
black ass can hear me? It's unaffordable.
Okay. I'm not disagreeing
I'm
with
sorry,
you.
guys.
What else you got? What else you got?
Because, man, you're like a penny. You're like a fucking. I swear to God, man, you're worse than a fucking kid. Oh no, it's not unaffordable. I know somebody. They probably got fucking. I bet you that they got fixer up a fucking home.
You got Debo in the comments saying, I'm about to shit straight up in the air. I don't know how that happens logistically. That's crazy, but you see what you're making my guests do?
Because it's fucking crazy, dog. It's fucking crazy how you over here saying it's not unaffordable. And it fucking is. Everything is fucking unaffordable, man. Like, damn. I wish Biden was here. The fucking thing wasn't as bad.
Was
And
housing?
you over here saying, oh, Trump's first term, he had a good economy. No, he did not, Negro. No, he did not.
Was
He
housing?
had tariffs on washer and dryers and freezers, deep freezers and shit. They was going through the fucking roof. What are you talking about? I don't even know where the fuck your brain is. When he first came through, he was riding on his Obama's dick.
How about this one? How about this one? In the comments, Gen X says, I literally just closed on 2 properties. Unaffordable for the ignorant.
Google it if you don't think I'm lying. Then why? I can't stand that white trailer trash ass racist piece of shit. Go Google it, shit. If you don't fucking.
No,
believe me.
listen,
Ask Siri.
listen.
Ask Siri. Ask Siri.
I don't need
And
to
they'll
ask.
tell you it's unaffordable.
Listen, you came in here with such fire and hostility that, listen,
Because I can't stand you half the fucking time. All you fucking do is kiss the white man's ass.
there is nobody kissing anybody's ass.
And then
gangster.
fucking Trump and Obama lives rent free in his fucking head. He's fucking up everything. Whole United States, man. People can't buy a home. Rent's going through the fucking roof. And people are saying,
Were homes?
people over here saying,
Let me ask
People
you:
over-
were homes affordable under Biden?
better than this shit.
But were they affordable though?
Better than this shit.
That ain't what.
I'm
That
on
ain't what I'm asking you. Were they
I said
affordable?
yes. It's better than this shit.
I don't recall people bragging at how affordable homes were when Biden was in office. I don't recall that.
It was high, but not as high as it was now.
Okay.
What are you talking about? And now he's cut all the regulations, so all the investors could go buy them all up. So what are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?
You know, here's some advice I received. M-Dub says, Tim, if you break her off, she be acting like this
No, I
on your
don't
show.
want his whitewashed dick.
Why I gotta be whitewashed?
You're white, dog.
Oh, my
I bet
God.
your dick is pink as fucking hell. I could never. You are fucking cool, man. Who the fuck who was fucking laid down with you? You'll sell me out to fucking the damn Klansmen. Hell no.
Listen,
You
I
got me
just
fucked up.
I just live a life where I don't blame the white man for everything.
You know what? You live a life that you kiss it.
They took Gangsta Grandma off the program. God damn. Anyhow, folks, tap the screen. We don't block, ban, or censor. We didn't take her off, but TikTok just took Gangsta Grandma off. Look, she comes with the fire every time, so sometimes we have to give it back to her. But I'll go ahead and concede. She is right. Whether we're talking inflation, whether we're talking the economy, whether we're talking the tariffs, or even Airbnb and Vrbo, home prices in America are unaffordable. She's right. She's right. But she came with the fire, so I had to push back. But she is right. Home prices are widely considered unaffordable. I'm not disagreeing with that. And I just gave you many of the metrics of why to make sure you knew that I actually understood and I wasn't just conceding the point. But, I mean, Trump's tariffs, the way he attacked Canada and the price of lumber and all the shit you need to build homes. Like I said, Airbnb and investors buying up a ton of properties. Shout out to Mom Donnie, who's trying to do something about that, while folks are calling him a socialist. But she is right. But look, it is what it is. Sometimes you got to push back. Somebody said conceding means Debo. I'm just going to say you're right, Debo. In the comments, so do you think any of it is by design, Tim, says Billy Wap. Yes, but not necessarily from a racial aspect. And I see in the comments, all presidents have said things that are not true. You need to do better than that, says Hanson Conservative. I'll answer your question real quick about design, Billy Watt. And by the way, help you boy out the hat, mustache, TikTok cap goes. Yes, I'm asking. In regards to saying all presidents have said things that are not true, Hanson Conservative, if I've said this once, I've said it a million times. This man promised to expose the deep state, to drain the swamp, to govern by not being a typical politician. And all we seem to do with every fuck up that he continues to perpetrate is compare him to other politicians as a defense. He was not supposed to be those people. You're comparing him to Biden constantly. You're comparing him to Obama. He was supposed to be better. He wasn't supposed to do the same shit. He gets in there and makes $2.2 billion in one single. Well, you know, Biden and Hunter Biden, you told us that all that shit they were doing was corrupt. So why are you comparing him to Hunter Biden all of a sudden now? He was supposed to be better than all these people, not using the comparables to make excuses for him. To me, that is a failure. That is a complete failure of his campaign promise of draining the swamp and not doing that shit. Now I got Hanson Conservative saying all presidents have said things that are not true. So in other words, now we got to concede he's a fucking liar just like all the other politicians, that he claimed he was not a typical politician. The guy claimed he was not taking a salary. He came with his own money. We know he can't be bought. Now all he's done as president has been in there making money. This guy promised to be different and turned out to be a worse version of the same shit that people complained about. He's going to get us out of all these overseas wars. The guy is constantly threatening to attack country after country after country. He literally comes across as doing what politicians typically do. Just lie and say anything to get elected. He is doing all of the stuff that he promised you. If you put him in office, you don't have to worry about no more. And now that he's doing all that stuff, the only defense for him is to compare him to other liars in the past. Typical politician type shit. That makes no sense to me. That ain't what he promised. In the comments, it almost paints the picture of Donald Trump as just simply lying to the people, and he's going to bully Iran into submission. The guy promised to expose, drain, and govern from a standpoint of actually caring about the American people. Only one I see getting rich is him. Everybody else is being told short-term pain for long-term gain. Do you see him looking like he's going through any sort of short-term pain at all? I mean, the guy's talking about building helipads and shit now. He got so much money, he's dyeing pools a different color. That's what you do when you run out of shit to do around your house. Well, fuck it. Just go ahead and dye the pool green for St. Patrick's Day. Fuck it. We got plenty of money. This is the dude we were told that was going to come in here and take care of everybody. He's just taking care of himself. That's all I'm seeing. Everybody else, well, it'll get better eventually. Short-term pain for long-term gain. I don't see you dealing with any short-term pain at all. You balling out of control. Getting new aircraft and shit. Balling out of control. In the comments, the only thing that holds people back is themselves. Stop blaming other people and work at your... I agree at the mid-level. Handsome conservative. I do believe there are things that can hold people back. I absolutely do believe there are things that can hold people back. Do I believe the entire black race is being held back by the hands of the white man? No, not in 2026, I don't. But I do believe it applies to some people. I absolutely do. Like I mentioned before, I used to purchase properties in Chicago, and it turns out I was part of a class action suit. I think Dencal and a few other people I've talked to have been part of this as well. When we purchased properties, they were deliberately giving us a higher interest rate. Countrywide Financial was my suit. Fifth Third Bank was another one that was involved in that. Toyota Financial was doing it to people purchasing cars, just giving black people a higher interest rate. Is that holding you back? No, you can afford the car, but understand if I go out and purchase a home, and my interest rate is deliberately a point higher than some my white neighbor just because I'm black, all of a sudden, maybe next year he's buying a boat or an RV or something that I can't afford because I'm paying more in mortgage every month. I'm living the American dream across the street from him, but I got less toys because they're charging me more interest for being black. That's it. Maybe he's investing in a business or something with the extra money he's saving every month. So yeah, I mean, is it holding me back? To some degree it is. And that's now. That ain't 10 years ago, 20 years. That stuff is happening now. I was part of that about 10 years ago. So yeah, some of that stuff is happening. Looking in the comments here, and like I said, that's an actual class action settlement that was proven in the court of law. They had to pay people money back because they were deliberately giving higher interest rates to people of color. It's undeniable, and it has nothing to do with slavery or Jim Crow or anything hundreds of years ago. That shit is in the 2000s recently. And I'm just buying, 2 flats and homes. Imagine somebody trying to buy some real property, something real expensive. That little extra interest rate could amount to a ton of money you're taking from that person. In the comments, so you got your money back. I'm certain I didn't get it all back. I got some of it, but I'm certain I didn't get it all back. No, I didn't get all that back. I don't know how long they were even doing it because as an African American, you didn't know. Just like if you go and work, let's say you go and apply for a job, and because of your skin color or because of your gender, the employer pays you less than somebody else that's a different skin color or a different gender. You may never find that out. You may absolutely never find that out at all. I know a girl personally that was a friend of mine when I worked at AT&T as an engineer. It was a black girl. She came straight out of the Navy, doing a few years in the Navy, and we both had the exact same position as a telecom engineer. And I found out after after I left the place for several years, she ended up winning a lawsuit because they had started her out at a lower salary. And this is at a union job. So in the union jobs, you know what your it's a pay scale. And when you first come in, they pay you based on, your resume and things like that. But you're going to max out anyway. But they started her off at a salary lower than me, and I had a 2-year degree back then before I went to college. So I only had a 2-year associate degree. She had came out of the Navy. She had the degree and everything. She didn't find out about it until she started talking to some friends about paychecks, which is something we don't normally discuss in America. And she found out. They started her out at a lesser pay, and it took her a few years to catch up. So they ended up, she won, and they had to pay her back pay. But yeah, some of the stuff they do, you won't find out, or it may take you forever to know about it. Going to the box will make it happen with Stick, the ruler. And by the way, holding her pay back, that could have cost her more time before she purchased a home. Could have cost her, that could have led to her investing less in her 401k. I mean, that certainly hurt her financially, not having that money those years. Stick, good evening.
Hey, what's going on, Tim?
Not much
Hey,
at all.
Gigi was right with the housing.
Yeah,
She was on the money. I just wanted to make sure that
She wasn't on the money about the
that for
400K,
sure.
but the rest of that she was. You can get a home for less than 400K. Come on now, really?
Not a new home, not here in Florida. You can't.
Well, shit, everybody.
You can't.
How many Americans are buying brand new homes anyway? Even when the housing market is great, most Americans don't buy brand new homes.
So the average home used to be around 250, 275, and before that 125. My mother's, they bought a home here in Florida for $75,000 with a pool. So we're talking about from the 90s, from the 90s till 2026. The jump and the skip and the hop that the housing market has took. 2006, remember, we had China send us over all that bad drywall that brought it out the pipes, especially here in Florida, because I was in the not so much the housing market of buying houses, but I was into the building, the construction. So I know about the drywall that was received here in Tampa, Florida, in a community called Fish Hawk.
Okay.
And it's upscale. So what happened? Those $200,000 homes went from $200,000 to $400,000 because now they have to be rebuilt in the
Well,
city.
not only that, but
drywall.
Stick, you also live in Florida, just like gangsters over on the West Coast. You live in expensive parts of the country. That's gonna matter too. You're not calling me from Nebraska. You're talking about Florida and California.
Well, when you talk about places like Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Texas, you're talking about they only have maybe one huge city versus Texas that maybe has 4. And I'm saying Dallas, I'm saying Houston, I'm saying San Antonio, and I don't know, it's between Austin and Killeen, because Killeen.
Well, you can only live in one city at a time. I mean, look, if you're trying to find affordable housing, you may have to move. If your goal is you don't want an apartment, you don't want a condo, you want a house, and you live in Los Angeles, you may have to move.
I mean, you may have to move, or you may not have to move, because in Los Angeles, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna make more money because you're actually looking for a house. So you're gonna be making more money.
You're going to make even if you go back to the 90s, the time period you brought up. Even in the 90s, if you wanted to own a home in Los Angeles, you still was gonna come up off some cheese.
Oh, okay, and we have a lot of homeowners in Los Angeles. Do we or do we not?
Got a lot of homeowners everywhere.
Okay, so that's my whole point. But even still, in Los Angeles, the prices are high. In New York, the prices are high.
Mm-hmm.
In Miami, the prices are high.
Well,
it sounds like to me, even though they're preaching, in the South everything is cheaper, apparently when you go to places that are popping and where the city is vibrant, you are gonna have
You're going places where everybody wants to live. Supply and demand is going to take control.
Right.
I mean, that's the price you pay for trying to move where everybody wants to be. But I also want to point out too, we could talk about Trump's economy or Biden's economy and what's going on economically with inflation and stuff, but in the 90s, places like Airbnb was not taking. That shit is causing a lot of housing prices to go up. That right there, the Vrbo and the Airbnb, if you want to bring housing prices down, you got to get that under control because new home buyers are competing with investors that might be able to afford to pay for 10 houses in cash. They're going to always beat you with that type of stuff out there. They got to get that under control.
Yeah, they do have to get it under control, but if you got a president that ain't trying to get it under control, then here we are.
Yeah.
I mean, he's trying to deregulate every damn thing. That's why, and in my opinion, TikTok, that's why the planes are falling off the sky. That's why the trains are running off the tracks.
What do you mean planes are falling off the sky? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the deregulation of planes and making sure that these motherfuckers
Ain't no planes falling. Stig. The planes ain't falling off the sky.
The planes are landing on top of trucks because they're hitting the freeway damn near and hitting light poles. Motherfuckers is getting hit by the planes by being on the fucking runway. Like, it's all sorts of shit happening. Helicopters and planes have the same fucking flight path.
You taking a small example. You sound like they're eating cats and dogs. I mean, that ain't. It's still incredibly safe to fly in this country. The planes are not dropping out the sky.
Listen, Tim. Before the deregulation, before all of this shit, there were plane crashes, right? Okay. And I get that, and I understand that. However, Tim, it wasn't rampant the way it's been.
I don't think it's rampant now. How often are we having plane crashes?
Shit, at least once a week. You hear of a plane having some type of incident, running into each other and shit like that. They don't have. I mean, I know you've seen the stories, Tim, about how the shutdown, number one, has been affecting it. Then number two, how the deregulations, the doors not missing the bolts, coming off mid-flight and shit. Everybody's scared that the plane's gonna crash.
I watch a lot of things. That's one of the things. Yeah, that's one of the things I do watch on YouTube. I actually follow a lot of pilots and retired pilots and stuff, and they discuss what's going on in the industry. I ain't heard none of them talking about an increase in plane crashes happening like you're making it sound.
I'm gonna say it again, Tim. There's no way possible. You gotta just not be watching the news.
Are you scared to fly right now? Is it bad enough that you would be scared to fly?
Everybody's scared to fly right now. Even the motherfuckers that get up there and just be like, fuck it. They scared too. Even they don't spend their money. They just like, man, fuck it. I gotta tough it out, not knowing whether this is their final destination. They're like, this is what's going on. Like, seriously.
I haven't heard.
Like, no, seriously. Like, when you deregulate anything, just like, for instance, the way that the RFK is doing with the immunization shots and
I agree.
And all of that, that's a form of deregulation. Guess what's gonna happen? These kids gonna get them old diseases that used to be they were there, but they were very minute. They were very small.
I'm thinking
now it's coming back.
I'm thinking under Trump, I haven't heard of even one major airline crash. I mean, I know the UPS jet in Louisville, but it was a UPS jet with 3 pilots. But in terms of a real, I mean, there was a Black Hawk that hit a passenger jet outside of DC, but that's been a year plus ago. But in terms of, you make it sound like planes are falling out of the sky.
What about the crash that happened over the Hudson? What about the plane that went so low over the goddamn freeway that it landed on top of a truck? A driver almost got hurt. What about the man that was on the freeway somehow and got hit by a plane and sucked in the engine? Like, what are we talking? Like, you
Well,
don't know
the
about
point
none
I'm
of this
making
shit?
is it's amazing that you're telling me this huge rash of plane crashes are happening, and it's almost like, remember Mr. T in the 18, nobody gets shot, ain't nobody dying in all these crashes you're talking about. That is unusual to have a bunch of air crashes. Most of these cases, the stuff you're talking about, nobody even died in this stuff.
What I'm trying to tell you is, if you don't have if you have the deregulation going on, where it's taking away certain safety things that protocols that need to happen, you have such things as the front wheel doesn't extend out, and the plane has to do a front belly landing, and all of this other shit with looking like a bird with its wings out, scratching its chin on the ground. Like, this is the type of shit that is going on. Like, it's not something that is just.
I'll just say
rare.
this. I'll say this.
It's been going on for a while.
Yeah, but the problem is, there's just no fatalities in this. If people start dying, you're going to have a lot more news exposés and stuff about what you're talking about. But the fact is, you're talking about a lot of like single pilot stuff, like helicopters and Cessnas. That's one thing. But if they start having commercial airliners crash and things like that, then yeah, your point is going to be a lot stronger and far more well received. But right now, Trump's been in office almost 2 years, and I don't think there's been any major, fatalities concerning airliners. It just hasn't been happening.
So hold on. You're saying fatality, so you're moving it. Number one, you're doing a MAGA trick.
Well, hold on. I'll let you finish. Let me just say this: when you're talking about plane crashes and no fatalities, that ain't. When you think about a plane crash, you kind of expect people to die. So for you to say planes are falling out of the sky everywhere and nobody's dying in any of these things, I ain't never heard of something like that. But go ahead.
So number one, all the people died when the helicopter and the plane collided.
About a year and a half ago.
This happened in DC, and it also happened over the Hudson in New York.
People died.
We had a helicopter. Yes, we had a helicopter. A couple of helicopters go down. A couple, not just one or two. We had a couple.
News choppers and helicopters flying and giving you tours over Vegas and shit. They go down all the time. In fact, I took a tour over Vegas and the pilot told me that. He told me that we had crashes all the time, but they don't really want to ruin tourism, so they don't tell you. That is single engine shit where, some dude owns his own stuff. That happens all the time.
So what I'm getting from you is the MAGA sentiment again, that it happens all the time. And now that I'm seeing it on the news more and more ever, after he's done deregulations toward the FAA, after he's had people like I just named, RFK, go and deregulate something else that
I agree with. When the measles starts coming back and shit like that, that I agree with the RFK stuff. I agree with you on that totally.
So what's the difference between you knowing the measles coming back, but you don't know that there's more incidents that shouldn't be happening because of deregulation in the FAA field? Only because you don't know about that or you don't agree with that, you're telling me that my premise is wrong when I'm telling you it was an uptick and when the shutdown happened, because we all know for that fact right there, the FAA did not have the people in the towers. They did not have the TSA as they should, because the TSA was like, man, fuck this, I gotta live. I gotta go find me another job so I can make me some money to pay my rent, and on and on and on. So they were suffering because of deregulation and the shutdown all at the same time.
I guess the reason why
these planes are not going up and like with the safety checks that are supposed to happen. That's why we have the bolts missing off the door.
I guess the reason why I'm pushing back is even the liberal programs like The View and stuff like that. Even they're not really. They're complaining about the measles epidemic. I'm seeing that on liberal programs everywhere. The measles and some of this stuff coming back because of RFK rolling back vaccines and stuff. But even they're not complaining. What you're talking about in regards to air travel, it's just not being mentioned much, even in areas where people do not like Trump. Is there big stories on MS Now or CNN talking about airplanes are crashing?
So I'm gonna tell you, just like you just said, is anybody scared about traveling on an airplane?
Mm-hmm.
If the airliners had people constantly covering these stories instead of just doing a quick airliner went down, blah 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 blah, and then move on, then it would be a problem because they wouldn't have any people to fly around. They would have to lower their prices, and it's hard to do that with the jet fuel being so goddamn high. So they're finding ways to cut corners because of deregulation that he has allowed for them to put these unfit airplanes to flight, and just sometimes those flights don't have the mishap in the air and cause it to lose lives. But on the landing or before the takeoff, these incidents that are happening are due to deregulation, and before the and during the deregulation, the shutdown.
Well,
it's a problem.
Well, I'm just going to say,
all you got to do is look it up.
Okay.
It's a problem.
Well, maybe I'll have to look it up because, like I said, it's amazing that as you say, planes are falling out of the sky everywhere, and people are surviving all these plane crashes. That's unusual. People normally die in plane crashes, and to have all these survivals, like really, I mean, look, planes go down occasionally here and there. Certainly, little Cessnas and helicopters, but I'm not hearing of a whole bunch of commercial airliners going down like you're saying. Maybe 3. With no fatalities, with the exception of the one in D.C. about a year and a half ago. I'm not hearing it. I watch enough news. It just ain't coming up like that. But I got to move it on unless you got another topic, one of these other things you want to talk about real quick.
So just one thing. So the picture that you got in the back with the young lady surrounded by those guys, I see that you still on that. I'm going to say it again. It's generational trauma. There's no telling what she might have already heard about said situation or certain people. It's about just maybe she don't know who they are, and that's a problem too.
You need to know.
They could.
I mean, every one of these motherfuckers look like every one of them look like they're auditioning for the role of Jason in the next Halloween movie. You really need to know who they are. They obviously are not good news.
Well, they look like big boy Cub Scouts, but I'm just saying,
it's 100 degrees in DC on that day, and they dress like that. Obviously, I would think they on here to rob or do something bad. It's 100 degrees and they dress like that.
Right. So what I will say is, I don't know what she was thinking, but I do know this: she didn't know what the hell was going on. And in that situation right there, she's almost thinking like the white folks. They got to know everything that's going on. You know, hey, what are you doing? What's going on? That she was at least thinking, what the hell is going on right now in her black mind. You got what I'm saying?
What?
So that's yeah. I'm just being honest.
Why can't we just use the running car? Right. Yeah, listen, I believe she's scared. I wish somebody would interview her. I would love to know what she was thinking and how she ended up in that situation. Was she on first and they came on, or I don't think she would have came on. If the car door opens up and you see all that bullshit in there, I'll catch the next one. So I'm assuming she was already there, and then they all came on.
They came on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I'm pretty sure that's how it was too. And then it's like in that situation. Well, I mean, they're all dressed alike. I mean, they look like they're harmless. Look like little big Cub Scouts.
Fuck that.
Maybe I'm all right. You know, I'm just saying. Maybe I'm all right. They're all on there. They're just talking. They're not even paying her no attention. Whatever the case may be, that's what it kind of looks like.
Every stop that train stops that you're looking out the window and blinking twice at anybody you see. Like, fuck.
she's putting her hand up, putting her thumb in the middle.
Hell yeah, like, help me. I gotta go stick, but that's a situation I wouldn't want to be in. Listen, because it's normally 2 entrances on those trains. If they all came in one entrance, I'm getting up and going out the other one, but chances are they were flooding in both entrances, so she kind of just stuck there. I would love for them to interview that girl, because I feel sorry for anybody that's in that situation. It's just got to been frightening.
Yeah, I believe it was to a certain extent. I don't want to say that she was just terrified because I don't know, but I'm pretty sure she wanted to know at least what the hell was going on. I can wholeheartedly understand all of these white tee men around me. I know that they white tee. The only thing I can see is the bridge of their nose, you know, the little part up under their eyebrow. So I know all of them are white tee, but I don't, you know what I mean? Yeah. Why are they all like this? It would. If a white person was in there and a whole bunch of Black Panthers walked on with black berets and leather jackets,
they wouldn't be comfortable.
It's gonna be some purse. Yeah. Yes, it's gonna be some purse clutching. It's gonna be some. Who the hell are these guys? It's gonna happen.
Kind of reminds me of
both scenarios.
You're Gen X. You're probably old enough to remember this movie, but it kind of reminds me of when the married couple was sitting on the train and the Warriors came walking on there, and they were having fun until the fucking war. Like, who the fuck are these dudes? That's what it kind of reminds me. So like these guys are bad news. They come walking and sitting on the train. It kind of reminds me of the old movie The Warriors. But I gotta go, Stick. Thanks for coming through.
Yes, so even the Warriors girl her feet was dirty, so yeah.
Exactly. All right, good talk. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. They come walking on a train, and if you ever seen that old 79, I think the Warriors came out, 1979, so it's an older movie, but yeah, they were sitting on the train, and they were all laughing and joking around, and the Warriors got on there and they looking at them like, oh shit, everybody got silent like this, and there was nowhere near as many of them as it is in this this photo here. So it is what it is. They're looking in the comments here. That's like, what does that says? That's like getting on a bus from the Wu-Tang payback. Did I see that video, Wu-Tang? Might have to think about that one. Not sure. A picture of the white cop on the ground while the black kids are, that ain't got nothing to do with this. Yeah, like I said, I would love to have this, to hear this girl got interviewed and ask, hear what she, what she thought of what was going on. Because like what Stick, my last caller, said, she could have been wondering who these people are, but let's just be honest about the history of what we've seen in this country. A bunch of white dudes walking around in masks has never been anything other than racism. Going all the way back to the Klan. We can talk about anything, any subject you want, but fact is, when you see a whole bunch of white people together, dudes wearing masks, racism is usually the method of operation for that group. Obviously we can talk about the Klan, we can talk about Charlottesville, we can talk about the tiki torches. It is what it is. You want to stereotype and talk about what's in people's culture. Wearing masks as a group of white men, racism is going to be, and then of course they're carrying a Confederate flag, and it's just literally walks like a duck, talks like a duck, smells like a duck. It's Peking fucking duck. It is what it is. Anyway, look it in the comments. Tap the screen. There may be a few folks still showing the program some love. She probably knew who they were. Yeah, you would have to know, unless you've just been living under a rock. And my guess is there was probably some words being said on there amongst each other and stuff that also may have spilled the beans on what my guess is that many dudes on there where they're the only ones on there but her. They probably weren't quiet. Look at that fool on the platform with his pants around his ass. It could have been stuff like, my guess is all of them dudes together, some of them were probably saying stuff that would have made it even clearer what they were about. Just guessing, but I doubt if they were all on that train totally silent. Just guessing. It's all dudes that are probably 40 and under. Testosterone's flying. It is what it is. They probably, I'm sure they were not all quiet on that train like that. In the, what does that says here? I'll back up. The wicked gangster grandma average home in BFE, Utah is $400K. Where does BFE? What is BFE? It almost paints the picture of Donald Trump just simply lying to the people. Apparently, I didn't skip up in the sections here. Now, for some reason, all my damn comments on YouTube are gone. Don't know what just happened there. Let's see what we can do here. In the comments here on TikTok, at least the Panthers will show their faces. Yeah. Yeah, that's generally a white man thing, hiding your faces. I mean, the BLM shows their faces. You're right, the Black Panthers show their faces. What other groups, look, the Nation of Islam, they often show up in groups. They show their faces. I mean, yeah, that's strictly something that is almost unique to white racist people. When they walk down the street not showing their faces. I think they did it in Nashville. I think they were getting out of U-Haul trucks in Ohio doing that on overpasses, but it's always a bunch of them hiding their faces. That's something almost unique to white supremacist groups. Wearing the same outfits and not showing their faces. Could bring up another Warriors reference, the what was it called? The baseball Furies. Guys had to they had their faces painted, looked like they were all members of the Yankees. Looking in the comments here, you have to hide your face or DEI will have your ass fired. Well, if you're going down the street, out in the street saying all kinds of hateful shit, maybe you deserve to be fired. I mean, it is what it is. If I walk down the street saying all kinds of hateful shit about white people, and I work at a business where I regularly have white customers, my boss is gonna fire me too. Yeah, you deserve to be fired. And I'm gonna say this. There's a good chance some of these folks are in positions of power. Managers, some of them might be cops or firemen or military personnel. If they don't like one group of people, they shouldn't be doing those jobs where they may be required to save the lives of those people. I mean, if you're in a burning building and you're hoping that a racist is going to climb through the fire and come get you, do you feel confident that he would do it as much as somebody who has no problem with equality? I mean, yeah, if they're talking like that, they shouldn't have their jobs. You don't know what they're doing for a living. I mean, some of these folks may be teachers. You think they're judging and grading tests equally? So no, I'm 100% okay with them losing their jobs if that's what they're going around doing, is preaching hate. And I would say that about any African American too, by the way. If you're black and you're preaching hate, yeah, you should not be employed somewhere where you're dealing with non-blacks. If that's how you feel like, you don't like these people and they're all bad, or, you should not be working in an environment where you're coming in contact with them. Just my opinion. Hate is hate, no matter which side of the aisle it comes from. Wrong is wrong. If their response to Antifa is to act like Antifa, what are we accomplishing? Antifa is not a hate group. It's diverse. First of all, there's women, there's men, there's gay people, there's black and white. Antifa's not a hate group. Antifa don't have a history of hate groups. Nobody's been lynched by Antifa. Look, you got to come up with a better counterpoint than that. This is the same thing when people try to counter the Klan with BLM. It's not the same. You're comparing racist groups that only have one type of person in it to very diverse groups that accept everybody. Anybody can be in BLM. Anybody can be in Antifa. Anybody cannot be in these white supremacist groups. They're only letting, in fact, they really don't even let women in this shit. It's just white dudes. It's not the same, man. You can try to play word games with it all you want. It's not the same. In the comments, how dare we be Antifa, anti-fascist? Well, the Antifa people don't like Trump, so they're going to find a way to demonize you. But Antifa is nothing like what the right tries to make it out to. It's not a hate group. It's just not a hate group. Who does Antifa hate? What group of people do they hate? They don't like black people, and they have one isolated and outnumbered and doing, sound like worst hate group ever. What do you say? Antifa don't like black people? They're a black Antifa. Yeah, that makes no sense. You just learned that, Jamie. What is that? Poor brainwashed Democrat, says Robert. Okay, whatever that's supposed to mean. You could at least elaborate on that. Let's go back to M-Dub in the comments. In the box, rather. M-Dub, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Good evening, brother Sam. How you doing?
I'm doing good. What are you doing? Filming a World Star video? I can barely hear you.
I'm at the bowling alley, man, and That's how long I've been holding on. But let's see. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hey, give a shout outs to what's his name? Stick the Ruler. I'm from Tampa too, even though I live in Texas. But I'm gonna give him a shout out, even though he wouldn't let me come up on his program one time because I only had 12 hours. So.
Who are you talking about?
Stick the Ruler.
Oh.
Yeah, he's from Tampa. Yeah. And I tried to get on his program. I was like, oh, he's from Tampa, you know. And he was like, hell no, you ain't coming up here with no 12 followers.
Really?
I just. But I think we need to go ahead and get Gangsta Grandma straight, man. Go on and break off one, man. That's all, you know.
She said,
remind me of that chick in school that keep hitting on the dude, and that's because she liked it.
well, Gangsta Grandma said I have a pink dick. She says I have a pink dick and she wouldn't do that. Yeah, she said I have a pink dick. So I'm hereby disqualified.
I heard that, but I was calling to take issue with something he said, just about, you know, the playing field being level, and I do agree that we as blacks, if we put our heads down, we can go and, you know, we can achieve that dream. We got to go a little bit harder, though, than the average ham and egg eating joker, you know, my white counterpart. That's just the facts. And, you know, my own personal experience with that, when I was in Tampa, I was working with an environmental company. I was a supervisor. But I actually went and looked in the employee files and saw it myself, where my counterparts were making at least $500 more than me for doing the same thing. So I brought it up to, you know, my superiors, people I reported to, and they looked like they'd seen a ghost, man. You know, and I've had to face that throughout my entire professional career. You know, I'm even facing it now as I'm looking for a job, you know, where, you know, out in Houston, it's a little bit different. And because of the fact that, you know, it's really connected. But, I mean, I ain't bragging, but you can't tell me that I ain't qualified for some of the stuff that I've been applying for. But when you don't get an interview, and when you look at the age of the internet now, it crosses my mind. Are they not considering me because I'm a black man? You know, it can't be because
here's where I kind of push back is because I'm sure that there are some black people that are in HR positions. Your background real loud, man. I may have to move you on. I can barely hear you.
Right. I'm sorry? Say it again.
Your background is super loud. I can barely hear you at this point.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that better? Yeah.
It's so.
Is that better?
We're going to have to wrap it up kind of quick. I'll just say this. There are black people that are in hiring positions that I believe also choose to hire blacks over whites.
Oh, no doubt. I know it happens. You can't tell me it doesn't happen. But I think that's people, I've been in those positions, and I think that's us saying, shit, they would do it the other way around, so why not? You know, and I'm going to say this, then I'll get off. Here in Houston, in Harris County, right now, people are raising hell because there is an administrator, county administrator, making $411,000, right?
Okay.
High pay, all that type stuff. She's the daughter of a former Congresswoman, Sheila Jackson Lee, but they're raising hell because she's making $400,000. But nobody's saying anything about her counterpart that's over the Expressway Authority that makes at least $450,000 to $475,000. You know, they're not saying anything about her counterparts that are of different colors. Yeah. And they certainly not saying anything about what I call the WEI, white, entitled, and incompetent, like Pete Hegseth and all these other cats. So, I mean, we gotta go a little bit harder, and I think we just gotta start reducing our dependency on it. That's all.
That would help. Kind of like Black Wall Street style. I'll go ahead and move it on, M-Dub. I'll let you go back to bowling. But
your business, man. Peace, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good time. Moving on with the program. And tap the screen. Get us up over the 100,000 hump, if you will. Listen, like I said, I agree that there are some hurdles to black success. particularly at the upper echelons, like he's talking about people making, 400,000 a year and shit like that. Yeah, you're absolutely going to start encountering hurdles at that level. But if you, like I said, the American dream, you want to make, anywhere between 40 to 120K in America, in the middle somewhere, comfortably in the entry level, middle to the middle. I think that education and a little bit of hard work, that is available to you even as an African American. It's just when you start climbing into them upper levels, you start bumping into all kinds of shit. You certainly, being a person of color and being a woman, it comes with that as well. Being a woman, you're gonna bump into that stuff. I'll also say, which is what I said earlier, it helps you to be in a liberal area, in a liberal city, of course. I mean, like, if you're trying to get into those upper echelon positions, you're trying to become a mid-level politician or something. Yeah, you're trying to do that in Chicago is going to be a lot easier than trying to do it in Huntsville, Alabama. It's going to be a difference. It is going to be a difference, which is why you often hear the right criticizing liberal cities. They don't say shit about their own towns. You'll hear people on the right telling you how bad Chicago or LA or New York is all the time. You don't hear them bragging a lot about any conservative area. Well, Texas and Florida have decent economies. What about all that shit in the middle? I don't hear nobody bragging about how great Kentucky is or how awesome West Virginians are doing. They ain't saying nothing about their own places. They're just beating down the liberal cities. Well, what's going on in your area? Have you seen California lately? Well, have you seen Mississippi? They ain't saying nothing about their own areas. So, look, anybody can find something to bash if you want. Thank you. Handsome Conservative says, I'm out. Have a blessed night. Appreciate that. When have white men wearing masks been racist? COVID. White men were not walking down the street wearing masks during COVID, all in unison, wearing khakis in the same clothes and all. It's a little different. I be in the break room, just worked 4 hours, made $4. Win-win, huh? Don't know what that means. No, the doctors are leaving, incoming north. Don't know where you're going with that. But like I said, there's a lot of African Americans that are doing quite well in this current environment. It's not that hard to navigate where you got to be like, I got to sell drugs to feed my kids. No, you might be making $250 when you should be making $300, like my last caller was talking about. But the idea that being black means you're homeless and you got to actually sell drugs and steal to feed, I don't believe it's that bad for African Americans. I don't believe it's that fucking bad. In the comments, how do Africans make it then? Like I said, work hard, put the effort, get educated, and you can do that even coming out of the hood. There's no work for doctors in the cell no more. They leaving south and coming north for work. Okay. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. I appreciate you guys. Close to 100,000. Not quite there, but thank you that you folks have tapped the screen. Some of you folks showed the program some love. If you're watching us on Instagram, Substack, TikTok, or Clapper, follow the program. We're here most weekdays. If you're watching us on YouTube, give your boy a sub. We are MAGA friendly. We criticize the Trump side of the aisle. We criticize the liberal side of the aisle. Right now, Trump is our president. So, of course, he's going to get far. We're not going to spend all day bashing Biden. Biden is gone. I know the folks on the right are probably going to view this program as criticizing Trump too much. Well, what about Biden this? Or are you talking about Trump making $2.5 billion or $2.2 billion in a year? Well, what about Biden? What about Nancy Pelosi? That ain't how we do this. When Biden was in office and 10% to the big guy was a story, we were covering that story then. Now that Trump is in the office and he's doing shit that doesn't look good, we don't go back to covering stories from 2-3 years ago to try to defuse what Trump is going through. We covered that then. And that's what the MAGA side of the aisle is trying to do. Well, now that Trump is fucking up, well, let's go back and talk about Obama or something Biden did. Or Nancy Pelosi was cashing in. You were criticizing her when that was happening. She's just about gone now. So you talk about the guy who's actually doing it right now, not somebody who came, from a few years back. That's just what they call deflection. We don't We don't do that here. Just about all of these stories were covered when they were actually happening. When Biden's economy was not doing well, we were covering the fact that Biden's economy is not doing well. When Trump's economy is not doing well, we don't go back and start talking about the Biden economy again. That's a MAGA deflection. We don't do that. Looking at the comments, and somebody said, who's spamming? I don't see any spammers. Let me know who is spamming, Shanti. I don't see it. In the comments here briefly, yeah, I made double and a halftime too. Made double and a half on the third. My 40 hours was up, so we went into time and a half during the holiday. That's double time. He must be on a union job getting Duke ain't spamming, he's trolling. He's saying different shit. I think somebody in the comments, Shanti, he's not spamming, he's trolling. He is saying different shit. He's not typing the same comment over and over again. He's trolling. That's what he's doing. He's actually typing that shit. He ain't cutting and pasting. He's actually typing that shit. His comments are different. Each one of them is. I've been looking at him. His comments are, he's saying different shit with each comment. That ain't how spamming works. Spamming means you're typing the same thing over and over again. I don't see that happening. If I'm getting it wrong, let me know. But it looks like he's typing different shit each time. And I see in the comments, Ardent Advent Comics says Tim is like Trump protecting pedophiles. I ain't protecting him from being a pedophile. I've called him out on it. He don't give a fuck anyway, to be honest with you. But no, I'm not protecting him. I'm just simply saying it doesn't look like he's spamming. Well, where were you when Black Panthers wear masks came up 100 times? I was blind. I didn't see that one. So you're right about that. I did not see that. That would have been spammy. People have the power. We're just too busy arguing with each other while billionaires are laughing. Stop blaming the man next door and stop asking why the people at the top keep getting richer. They're getting richer for one simple reason. Half of the country defends the wealthy. I'm going to tell you flat out, I believe the right are defenders of the wealthy. The right are the ones that often say that there shouldn't be any limit to how much money people can make, and they shouldn't have to give you a wage increase. The right is anti-union. All of this stuff is beneficial to the wealthy. All of this is. So I really believe that the right is, to some degree, defenders of the rich. All of the stuff they say is more beneficial to wealthy people than it is the average. I mean, they're against most entitlements. So if a poor person falls on their face, needs food stamps, needs housing assistance, they're against all of that stuff. Who's going to pay for all of that stuff if you fall flat on your face and you need some entitlements? A lot of that's going to come from the rich. They're the ones who contribute the most to our taxes. All of the stuff that the right does is more favorable to wealthy people. I got folks even right now with Trump making $2.2 billion in a single year talking about, well, all the stuff he did for America, he deserves the money. He's a businessman. This is what they do. They're defending that guy doing that. He's a successful businessman. What did you expect to happen? I didn't expect a motherfucker to make $2 billion in a year. He wasn't doing that as a successful businessman on his own. So, yeah, I do believe the right defends the wealthy. Look at what they say about the likes of AOC and Bernie Sanders and Mamdani. Well, they want to give you free shit. What is the opposite of giving you free shit? Giving you nothing. The opposite of giving you free shit is pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's what the right is often saying. If something happens to you, if you fall flat on your face, if you lose your job, either you suffer until you figure it out or you just perish. Which is why I often say that when I talk to Straight Talk and some of my MAGA viewers that have that mindset, I tell them all the time, your party is the don't ask me for shit party. That's kind of what it is. If you go broke, I figured it out, you need to figure it out. Don't ask me for shit. That's kind of what the right is. And that helps the wealthy. That is very beneficial to the wealthy. So that's why you got folks that are getting richer and richer in the country. Half of the country is defended. We got Elon Musk worth $1 trillion now, and the right is like, there shouldn't be any limit to how much money he can make. At some point, he will be worth enough to be a serious, well, he's already worth enough to be a serious problem. He's already worth enough to be a serious problem, considering how much of the wealth, how much of the pie he controls. At some point, it should be a limit on how much you can earn, and I don't think it should be anywhere near $1 trillion. At some point, that should stop, because look, we know the laws are tailored to make wealthy people's finances snowball. It's hard to go from poor and climb the ladder. Once you get that kind of money, it's easy to make more money. The laws are just tailored to favor you. Yeah, I think it should be stopped. I totally disagree with it. In the comments, thank you, but no thank you. I'm like Dracula when it comes down to garlic, huh? MAGA has confirmation bias. The right relish culture war and war. No new wars was a lie. I agree with that. Elon was a Democrat. You went too far left. Elon Musk was not a Democrat. And when you look at the shit he's been doing and saying, that dude ain't never been a Democrat. Trump used to be a Democrat. I'll accept Trump because Trump has actual quotes. He talked about you don't need high capacity magazines. That's a quote from Trump. Trump has said, what else has he said? Well, obviously he's indicated I don't want to say not believing in God as a left-wing tenant, because a lot of Democrats believe in God, but he's on record saying that. In fact, he said, I identify as a Democrat. Trump is actually quoted as one saying, I identify as a Democrat. I don't see a lot from Elon Musk past to indicate he's a Democrat. He invented, I won't say invented, but he made a killing at selling electric cars, which were viewed as a status symbol by the left, but that don't make the dude a Democrat. I mean, that's like saying, you sold Cadillacs to black people, so now you're part of the hood. No, you just like money. I don't see a lot from Elon's past to indicate he was a Democrat at all. My heart goes out to anybody who thinks so. Should I do the salute? That dude was not a Democrat. I don't think Elon was ever a Democrat. Yes, Elon identified as a Democrat, and maybe he didn't know what a Democrat was, because that dude is not a Democrat. His I want to say bigotry or level of intolerance. I mean, I don't see Elon being pro anything but white people. That dude is not a Democrat. There's no way, unless maybe he was a Democrat from years past, one of those pre-civil rights Democrats. He might have been one of those, but I don't think that dude was a Democrat. I don't see anything from Elon Musk to suggest that. Is he even known to be charitable? The guy's the wealthiest guy on earth. Is he known for even being charitable? I don't see anybody. Look, you're going to say that the Democrats went too far to the left, so you joined MAGA? No, because MAGA is very far to the right. If you thought the Democrats are going too far to the left and you said, fuck it, I'm not going to work with the Democrat Party anymore, I could understand that. I get MAGA on the program all the time that say that MAGA has went too far to the right, so they're not MAGA anymore, but they make it clear, I'm not going to vote for Kamala Harris. I'm not going to vote left. I'm just not affiliating with MAGA anymore. That's what a person would do. You don't go from being a Democrat to MAGA. To me, if you were a Democrat and you're now MAGA, I don't think you ever were a Democrat. I have a hard time believing you ever were a Democrat if you went from that to being. Democrats ain't went that far to the left. I don't agree with that. He does like everybody else. They fake the funk. You think Donald Trump was a true Democrat? He was a racist when he was in New York and put those 5 kids in the newspaper. Okay, the Central Park 5 thing does look bad. But do I believe all Democrats like black people at Trump's level that's been around as long as Trump?
He's charged.
I think that there are plenty of 80-year-olds that were Democrats that, look, if you came up when Trump, I think, when was Trump born, in the early 40s? Like, I think he was born in like 1940 or something, whatever he was. Look, all of the white men that were like that back then, it was just the norm. Biden too. They all were racist back then. So I don't want to say that being a Democrat guarantees you're not racist. I do believe leaning right increases the probability of it, but I'm sure look, do I believe Nancy Pelosi loves all black people? I don't know. I wouldn't say that. So you're not going to vote in an election if Kamala was to run again. I think Trump has made it so people are going to vote in elections, period, because the way he's running things, you got a large portion of the country that thinks Trump is trying to fundamentally change what the nation stands for. People believe Trump is just the most corrupt president we've ever had. And of course, the right believes that the Democrats are trying to turn the country into communists and shit. So I think everybody's going to vote in this election because the name calling and the shit is flying around. Democrats are calling Trump fascist and corrupt, and the Republicans are calling the Democrats everything in the book. Like fascist, Marxist, corrupt, socialist, they calling them everything. So yeah, I think both sides are doing a hell of a job doing it. You're not, then he's going to open the door for Obama to run for a third term. I don't think Obama even wants to run for a third term. Clearly, Michelle Obama didn't want it because Michelle Obama had a chance, I think, of being, Michelle Obama would have absolutely been the Democrat nominee. If Michelle Obama had ran for president in 2020 or 2016, yeah. If she had followed her husband in 2016, because Obama was just leaving after 2 terms, if Michelle Obama had ran in 2016 or 2020, she would have been a shoo-in for the Democrat nomination. She would have absolutely won the Democrat Party hands down over anybody. And then it would have been whoever the Republican is. So she clearly didn't want it because it was hers for the taking. It was hers. Stop hating on writing skills. And you were a short bus rider. Maybe you still do. Okay. He does like everybody else. They fake. Oh, I saw that already. So yeah, I mean, like Michelle Obama she had a chance. I really think she certainly had a far better chance than Kamala Harris. She had a chance, but she didn't want it. There's a lot of stress and obviously danger and things like that to being president. It ain't a job for everybody. In the comments, no president can run for 3 terms. Is everybody poor and educated? Well, I get your point, Doke Knife. He says no president can run for 3 terms. Is everybody poor and educated? We need to put how government works back in schools. No, you need to talk to your president. President Trump was asked about running for a 3rd term, and he was told flat out by a reporter, you cannot do it. It's in the Constitution. He was like, there are ways. President Trump said there are ways to be reelected for a 3rd term. So you need to talk to him first. That's coming from somewhere. President Trump, I don't know how much money he made selling Trump 2028 hats, but he made thousands. So you want to talk about people need to learn you can only run for 2 terms. Start with the president because he is on record saying that there are ways to do it. So, and Steve Bannon is too. Steve Bannon was interviewed on News Nation and he said it too, that there are ways to do it. So you can't blame the people. If the president of the United States is saying it, maybe he needs to learn the Constitution. In the comments, the Obamas know the truth. They want no part of it again. Did you see who was elected after? Trump was elected after Obama. So Elon has 180,000 employees. And I hate this bullshit about you got to protect the rich because I've never gotten a job from the poor. If you look out for the rich and the employee in the corporations, they'll, they give us jobs. That don't mean those jobs ain't shitty jobs. Jeff Bezos, I think he's the 2nd richest person. Amazon has a terrible history of mistreating its people. The right needs to get out of the mindset of, well, if you got a job, you're good. Look at how many people got jobs and they still qualify for food stamps and shit like that. Just having a job ain't always saying them. Is it a good paying job? Does it come with health care and benefits? All of the shit that the right don't want to fight for. You want to leave it up to the employer to decide if they want to give people health care and benefits. And they welcome your fight because they choose not to do it. If it was up to the liberals, everybody would have health care. But leave it up to the right. Well, if the employer want to do what they can, and they don't have to. Same thing with minimum wage and all of that shit. You guys fight for employers. You fight for the wealthy, and they love it. That's why most of them vote Republican. But you still support Amazon. And that ain't got nothing to do with what I just said, though. You lie about Trump and make money off of it. Tell me what I said about Trump, Melissa, that's a lie. Let me know. If you're right, you're right. What did I say about Trump that's a lie? And by the way, he is a terrible messenger for your statement. Trump lies about every fucking body. He is a terrible messenger for your statement. It ain't like I'm lying. If you got an actual lie that I told, it ain't like I'm lying about an honest guy. Trump tells people lies all the damn time. So what are you getting at? Let me know in the comments what you're saying I lied about, though. I'd be curious to know. But yeah, Trump lied. If you're in the comments, as you were saying, Melissa, that Trump doesn't lie about people, I don't even know how to respond to that. If you think everything that Trump says about people is all 100% honest, I don't even know how to respond to that. I mean, that's that bad. I do not even know. I mean, that's like literally finding out that an adult doesn't know what 2 + 2 is. I don't even know what to tell that person. You should know this by now. I don't even know what to tell you. If you think that everything Trump is saying about people is all true, I don't even know what to tell you. Even I know all presidents aren't honest all the time, says handsome conservative. And let me just say this about President Trump, I think I said this earlier, which makes him particularly noticeable compared to other presidents in their misgivings. He campaigned on being better than everybody else. Obama, Biden, Bush, Reagan, they didn't campaign on draining the swamp and exposing all of this shit they didn't campaign on doing that. He campaigned on being better, not being a typical politician. He campaigned on, I'm going to give you guys finally a politician that actually cares about you, as opposed to one that is only here to line his own pockets and mistreat everybody. He actually ran on that. The other people didn't run saying stuff like that. So when he gets in there and fucks up, yeah, it's going to draw more attention because you told us you were not a typical politician. You were going to expose everybody and drain the deep state and all of this shit, and drain the swamp. Now that you're doing all of the same swampy shit that you claimed that Hunter Biden and Nancy Pelosi and stuff were doing, you want to try to defend yourself by pointing to Hunter Biden and Nancy Pelosi. That doesn't work. At least it doesn't work for me. Couldn't drain the swamp because you were busy. Couldn't drain the swamp because you were burning Tesla dealerships. That's how many Tesla in a country of 400 million people and probably over 1,000 Tesla dealerships. How many places did that happen to? That goes beyond making a mountain out of a molehill. How many Tesla dealerships burned up in America? I mean, that comment is garbage. I'll just say that. CVD, life happens to real people no matter how it happens. Yeah? Trump has taken the grift to a whole nother level. I can't hate on him, though. You got MAGA talking about he deserves to earn $2 billion in the middle of this economy. They're defending that guy earning $2 billion. I had folks, Bill O'Reilly did a video also somewhat defending Trump. His comment section was loaded with MAGA defending Trump making $2.2 billion in one single year. What can you do with some shit like that? The guy's like 80 years old. He ain't came close to making that much money in any of those other years. He becomes president and suddenly his income blows up and they want to say, ain't none of that got anything to do with corruption or him being president. Just happened to happen by chance. And they believe that. They actually believe that stuff. He is better. President Trump is not a politician. He's a great president and businessman. He has been draining the swamp. He's not a swamp monster, unlike most people in our government. It makes me kind of wonder, what is your definition of draining the swamp? You said President Trump has been draining. You said he actually has been draining the swamp. The Epstein files is loaded with pedophiles. How about you name some of them that got arrested under Trump without deflecting to other people? If he's there to drain the swamp, let's start with the Epstein files. How many people have been brought to justice from the Epstein files under Trump? He ain't draining shit. How many? The guy's been complaining about election fraud since 2015. How many people have been arrested for fraudulent election activities under Trump, the drain the swamp guy? He ain't draining shit. What are you talking about? Give me some names of people that's been brought to justice. He's going after motherfucker Comey because Jim Comey laid rocks out to say 8647. That's the kind of shit he's wasting our money on. He ain't draining shit. What are you talking about? He's draining the swamp. It's all a game on us all. They are both red and blue, like the WWE fight each other in public and behind the scenes. They party like it's 1999 together. I do not agree with that anymore. If you had said that in 2014 or back further, I would have agreed with you that the politicians fight in public and they are friends in private. Under Trump, under Trump, they really do have grudges and shit with each other. It's not like that anymore. I mean, look, Trump actually takes grudges personal. So I don't believe that's happening anymore. But I do believe, like Newt Gingrich and Biden, with balancing the budget with Clinton and shit in office, they used to work like that. That ain't happening under Trump. They don't even stand. You see what happened in the State of the Union address? Boy got cancer, the Democrats didn't stand. Biden, in his State of the Union address, he also said some shit that everybody should have stood. And the right didn't stand either. The grudges are for real. The grudges are for real now. So I don't think it's like that. Lies all the time. Lies all the time, every day, everywhere, and say stupid bullshit like he has Tourette's. Yeah, Trump is not honest. I'm not even going to let you get away with that. Trump, he ain't honest. I mean, the guy posted a picture of himself as Jesus and told you that meant he was a doctor. The cats are eating Haitian, the Haitians are eating cats and dogs. That ain't based on no reality. The guy says all kinds of stuff that ain't true. And he knows it ain't true when he's saying it. So the idea that they're emptying insane asylums and prisons and sending immigrants to America, that ain't true. You haven't heard of, give me the name of a prison or an insane asylum where all the people were let out and they all came to America. That ain't based on no reality. He's just telling you shit because it's easy to get you to believe it. You'll just believe that stuff. That stuff ain't true. Go watch Frontline documentary on Trump's lies to MBS. Go ahead, man. I ain't never heard of him. What is MBS? In an information war, disinformation is necessary. You either are going to not be a typical politician, drain the swamp, and do things right, or you're not. You're not going to just make up excuses every time you fuck up, or bring up Biden or Nancy Pelosi or some excuse. You either going to do things right or you're not. It's as simple as that. It's getting embarrassing watching you, Trump, Cooklikins, damn, defending this man. Still and can't name any stats to support your claims. You guys know he's doing a bad job and refuse to hold him accountable. I don't know if they really do believe Trump is doing a bad job. I think they believe the Democrats are going to destroy the country, and they believe America was in such danger with Democrats in control that they're willing to overlook a few things that Trump is doing that they don't like. That's the way I believe it is. I don't think Trump is doing... I don't think MAGA favors everything Trump is doing, but I think that their belief is that Kamala Harris or Biden was going to tear this country up so badly that they're willing to just deal with Trump. Because what he's doing is not as bad as what they thought Kamala Harris or Biden was going to do. So, and I agree with you, Pimp named Furback, because Trump told them so. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm pretty middle, actually. What has he done? Not much. The border, I'll give Trump credit for You want to give him credit for getting men out of women's sports? I'll give him credit for that. That should not be happening. But outside of protecting men from playing in women's sports and securing the border to some degree, most of the other stuff that MAGA is giving Trump credit for is Trump telling you it's been done or it's going to be done, and them just having hope that what he's saying is true. Like the tariffs. We're not actually cashing in on the tariffs right now, but we might. So MAGA's giving them credit for, well, it might bring manufacturing back. That has not happened yet. But they're already giving him credit for the tariffs. So they're giving him credit ahead of him taking the test. He promised to score an A+ on the test, so they're giving him the A+ grade now. There's not a lot of companies breaking ground on manufacturing plants in America, but they believe it's happening. So he's getting credit for a lot of stuff that is not. Same thing when he meets with Kim Jong-un or when he meets with Vladimir Putin and he says, I had a really great meeting. They give him credit for that. Nothing comes out of those meetings, though. Trump met with Vladimir Putin in Alaska, red carpet, put him in the presidential limo, paid taxpayer money to have a flyover and all that for Putin. Said it was a great meeting. What came out of it? The Ukraine and Russia went right back to war within days. Nothing came out of that whatsoever. We paid a lot of money in taxpayer money for that to happen. Same thing, he went over and met with Kim Jong-un in North Korea. Said it was a great meeting with that one. Ain't nothing came out of that. That's been years ago. Ain't nothing came out of any of that stuff. Hey, Tim, sorry if I missed the other portion of your show. You brought me up, but it didn't go through. Had to go to the laundromat and get air conditioning fixed. Well, good to know you got clean clothes and cool air. Evil, we'll certainly catch you on the next one. So I appreciate your support as always. Thank you. Evil, always a pleasure. And somebody in the comment, I guess, Melissa, are you saying that Trump stopped wars? That's another one. Trump claims he stopped 8 wars, therefore suggesting he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. First thing, let's be clear. Trump was all over President Biden, suggesting that if he was president, the Hamas in Gaza would have never attacked Israel. And also suggested if he was president, the Russians would have never attacked the Ukraine. That's it. Suddenly Trump becomes president and he stopped 8 wars. 8 wars you didn't hear shit about when Biden was president. You didn't hear nothing about 8 wars going on when Biden was president. So the question, when did these wars begin then? They must have happened under your watch. So I've said, I've never believed it. The 8 war thing is a lie. It's a simple, not to mention some of the countries he claims to have stopped from being in war. The countries are saying he had nothing to do with it. India is a country that says Trump had nothing to do with stopping what we were dealing with Pakistan. India came out and said that he had nothing to do with this. But Trump claimed he stopped 8 wars. You heard nothing about 8 wars going on until Trump became president, suggesting he stopped it. That's not true. Then the guy was desperately seeking a Nobel Peace Prize. And once he didn't get it, he just turned into a warmonger. Venezuela, threatening Cuba, attacked Iran. I think we've bombed Syria, Yemen. We've launched some attacks in Nigeria claiming we were liberating Christians. That guy's wanted a Nobel Peace Prize. MAGA believed he deserved it. Trump has made the United States less secure. He terminated experienced DOJ, FBI, FEMA, and that's another one, is that if I'm a member of NATO, certainly some of the ones that are on the east side of NATO, like Poland and Romania and shit like that, do I feel confident that if Russia attacked me and we needed to invoke, Article 5 or whatever of NATO, do I feel confident America would help? No. Under Trump? I could easily see President Trump doing to Poland or Romania the same thing he did to Zelensky of the Ukraine. Just blame them for starting the war. He told Zelensky, you're the one that did this. You're flirting with World War III. He started blaming it on them. Same thing with Taiwan. If China decides to attack Taiwan, do they feel confident America will rush to their aid under Trump? You think MAGA would demand Trump help out Taiwan? No, I don't think so. Can you still bring me up? Yeah, I can if you go over there. We're about to roll it out, but we'll bring you up for a minute. Tim, Ukraine in Russia's ass now without, yeah, that's not good, Travelman, because we would have had a lot of power, a lot of say-so, a lot of favors owed if we had helped the Ukraine continue defeating Russia. But now that Trump backed out, he's strengthened Ukraine's allies with a lot of other folks, not us, and they don't owe us anywhere near the favors that they would have owed us. I don't see how we benefit from that at all with what he's done with the Ukraine. Now, the argument could be made, well, he didn't give them free weapons and he saved, tax dollars. Until we see some benefit of this shit, to me, it's irrelevant. Just like with Doge, he claims he saved billions of dollars in tax money. Same thing with USAID. He claims if the economy in the country is not getting better for you to see it as an individual, who cares how? I don't care if you save $10 trillion. If everything is still unaffordable, gas prices are still sky high, those numbers might as well just be fabricated. Those numbers are useless. They're constantly bragging on how much taxpayer money they're saving. The citizens are not benefiting from it, so who cares? It's irrelevant. The Doge checks, remember those alleged Doge checks? That didn't happen. So who cares how much money you're saving? You're not sharing. Only people we see getting paid are you and your kids and some of your close associates. You guys are getting incredibly wealthy. The average American is barely getting a 20% discount on a gallon of gas. So all of this saving taxpayer money shit is irrelevant to me. But it sounds good for MAGA. MAGA likes that stuff. Well, he saved tax money, he's saving money, he's saving. How much of it are you seeing, though? He could be just making that shit up telling you that. And by the way, when it comes to the Doge numbers of how much money was saved by Doge, that's exactly what it appears to have happened. Just made up a lot of numbers, and they had to constantly correct what they were telling you Doge was saving us. So it's a lot easier to convince MAGA of this stuff because with Trump, MAGA's not going to require a lot of evidence. So we'll have to see. In the comments, somebody is saying pray to Trump. Why would you pray to a man? Tell me you're not in a cult. Tell me you're in a cult without telling me you're in a cult. You're actually saying, what is his name? Hysteria. You actually get on your knees and pray to a living human being that has a lifespan. 10 years from now, you're praying to a dude that'll be dead, probably. That's who you actually go get on your knees and pray to. Wow. I guess you've never heard of the term beware of false prophets, huh? Anyhow, it's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal. I'll wrap it up here. I appreciate you folks tuning in. As always, feel free to follow the program if you're watching us on Instagram, Substack, or TikTok. And if you happen to be watching us on Clapper, give your guy a sub. Until then, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Thank you.